Chapter 1924. The Kuan sovereign was known for his speed. Back then when he exited the heaven vault, the heavenly net set up by the various experts couldn't stop him. He could ignore all Dao attacks. He instantly traversed the void and appeared before Qin Wentian. Both sides had a tacit understanding. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he appeared on the Kuan sovereign's back. What they wanted wasn't a true battle. Today it was already sufficient if they could retreat safely. After all, their opponents here were the hegemonic powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms. Everyone, why are you so overbearing? Could it be that you all don't understand that if those who act against me fail to capture me, you all will never have a chance to enter the heaven vault? Qin Wentian stood on the back of the Kuan sovereign as he spoke. His voice shook the heavens, causing the hearts of many experts in the supreme ancient immortal realms to tremble. In the deity-level battle today, the Qiankuan sect and Nine Heavens mystical palace stood on Qin Wentian's side. Clearly, they would obtain the qualifications to enter the heaven vault. Other than these two hegemonic powers, there was also Qin Wentian's own power. In addition to the Luotian clan, Demon God Mountain, Jian Junlai and the others, they had already become a power that couldn't be ignored. Although they couldn't be compared to the entire supreme ancient immortal realms, at the very least, they already had enough weight to cause a deity-level battle today. Qin Wentian used the heaven vault as his base of operations. If they allowed him to leave today, it would be more and more difficult to deal with him in the future. We mustn't let him leave. The prison god clan leader spoke. He soared into the air as a divine prison appeared in the air, directly enveloping the entire space. Just like what Qin Wentian has said, many people have already offended Qin Wentian. If they let him leave, he can forget about entering the heaven vault forever. On the contrary, the Qiankuan sect and Nine Heavens mystical palace could enter. If this was the case, they would be left behind. Maybe there wouldn't be any changes in a short period of time, but no one knew what would happen after 10,000 years or 100,000 years. The firmament divine prison covered the boundless space, seemingly locking down the entire Qin city. However, the Kuanping still soared into the sky, traversing through the void. The divine prison was also the power of spatial Dao arts. His Dao could penetrate through all Dao arts. But at this moment, the clan leader of the prison god clan had a cold look on his face. He took out a magic treasure that was square in shape and flew towards the sky. It actually resonated with the firmament divine realm. After that, the magic treasure radiated boundless light. The firmament divine prison trembled violently as though it had fused with the magic treasure. In an instant, countless lines flowed around Qin City. The entire city was sealed. The Kuan sovereign roared. His Dao could sense the energy of the firmament divine prison, and it was already impossible for him to break out. They were all sealed here. This time around, not only did the Kuan sovereign construct the firmament divine prison, he even brought along the supreme treasure of the prison god clan, and used it on them. Although the Kuan sovereign was said to have unparalleled speed, he still couldn't break through the firmament divine prison created by the supreme divine weapon of the prison god clan. The heavenly deities surrounded them. Their auras towered up into the sky, exuding terrifying divine might. The expressions of the Kuan sovereign and the others were all unsightly. The person they want is me. If something happens, I will bear all the consequences. Everyone, there's no need to fight to the death for me. Qin Wentian spoke in a light voice. He came to the Qin clan for a private matter. But since the heaven-devouring demon sovereign and the others were willing to come, he felt gratitude in his heart. But if he still couldn't escape even after inviting the Qiankuan sect and Nine Heavens mystical palace, he wouldn't implicate the others. These people wanted the heaven vault, and he was the controller of the heaven vault. Hence, if something really happened, he would be able to bear all the consequences alone. The time hasn't come yet. Let's fight first. The heaven-devouring demon sovereign spoke. The demon sovereign's body parted as Qin Wentian stepped out as well. He was still wielding the god-slaying rod in his hand as he blasted out towards the heavenly deities rushing over. The heavenly deities all evaded. Jian Junlai took a step out as a river of swords appeared before him. His silhouette fused together with the river of swords, splitting the heavens and earth apart as a sword rift appeared in the sky. Everywhere it passed by, the expressions of everyone changed. They wanted to evade, but time seemed to have stopped. Their speed slowed down, and the river of swords suddenly transformed into millions of streams that shot towards every direction, resembling a meteor shower, incomparably resplendent. Ants trying to shake a tree. With just these few people, it's still not enough. The Che clan leader also arrived today. He stood at the front and didn't retreat. He wielded the divine staff in his hand and blasted it out. An incomparably resplendent divine formation appeared in the air, seemingly indestructible. The Che clan, the #1 weaponsmithing aristocrat clan in the supreme ancient immortal realms, was actually able to form a divine formation with a wave of his hand. Qin Wentian, there's no need to struggle anymore. If you continue fighting, there won't be any benefits for you. The Thunder Clan leader spoke. He transformed into a god of thunder, and wielded the Haotian Thunder God Hammer, smashing out towards Qin Wentian. In an instant, divine lightning containing world-destroying might blasted down. Qin Wentian brandished his dimensional black hole, but under the might of that incomparably thick divine lightning, the dimensional space directly crumbled apart. A unique Tao might appeared in the surroundings of Qin Wentian, causing Qin Wentian's entire body to turn numb as though he was about to lose all his strength. This divine lightning clearly contained an extraordinary Tao attack. You won't be able to escape even if you have wings. Why don't you just surrender? The Thunder God lifted his Haotian divine hammer once more, and continued smashing down with divine lightning. In an instant, this entire space transformed into a forbidden ground. Qin Wentian's surroundings were covered with densely packed lightning tribulation energy, constantly numbing his body. Yu Changkong kept watching from the side, waiting for an opportunity to act. Right now Qin Wentian was very strong. He couldn't help but admit that even if he became a heavenly deity, he might still not be a match for Qin Wentian. But even so, this wouldn't waver his heart. As long as he devoured Qin Wentian, he would be able to inherit all of Qin Wentian's abilities. In the future, he would only grow stronger and stronger. Yu Changkong's body turned illusory. Boundless black qi flowed around him as he moved closer to Qin Wentian. The Che clan leader walked over and struck out with his divine staff. A moment later, a divine formation enveloped in lightning energy transformed into a terrifying vortex. The boundless light from the divine formation shot towards Qin Wentian, wanting to bind him. Boom! A deafening sound rang out, causing the entire sky to tremble. All the heavenly deities in the battle felt their hearts trembling as they stared up at the sky. Who was attacking the spatial divine prison? Outside the prison, a gigantic palm appeared, slamming down unceasingly like an entire world. Cracks appeared on the surface of the spatial divine prison, causing the prison god clan leader to frown. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the sky as his expression froze. This gigantic palm seemed somewhat familiar. Boom! The spatial divine prison shattered. That divine weapon flew back to the prison god clan leader's hand. However, this sealed space had already collapsed. In the air, a figure descended. This person was very unfamiliar. It was an old man. Not many people recognized him, but there were some from the older generations who knew of his existence. Everyone only knew that his surname was Yi. Right now he was the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. The Tiandao Sacred Academy doesn't care about external affairs. Why are you interfering in this matter? Qin Ding inclined his head and stared at the descending figure as he coldly spoke. He had once met the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy before. No matter what, Qin Wentian cultivated in my Tiandao Sacred Academy, and is a disciple of our Sacred Academy. He has also entered the legendary place of my Tiandao Sacred Academy before, and has a connection with the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Headmaster Yi spoke. In addition, all of you are peak characters of the supreme ancient immortal realms. Using such a large force to deal with a junior, don't you feel that you have no face at all? He controls the heaven vault alone, and isn't willing to allow the experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms to enter. We naturally won't agree to this. An expert replied. Since the heaven vault is controlled by him, he naturally has the final say. The scene today is somewhat similar to the time when all of you came to my Tiandao Sacred Academy back then. At that time, All of you also felt that the legendary place of the Tiandao Sacred Academy should be open to the people of the supreme ancient immortal realms. In that case, when will your clans and sects allow the people of the supreme ancient immortal realms to enter as well? Headmaster Yi calmly spoke. The hearts of the people below stirred. Indeed, there were some similarities. Under the influence of benefits, the experts of the immortal realms joined forces to suppress the heaven vault. Seems like Headmaster came here with resentment. Qin Zheng coldly spoke. Qin Wentian, you can leave first. Headmaster Yi spoke. Qin Wentian nodded lightly. Many thanks, senior. After speaking, the Kuan sovereign descended. He stood on the back of the Kuan sovereign and soared into the air. Where do you think you are going? Qin Ding coldly spoke. The judgment halberd in his hand pierced out towards the sky. In an instant, the sky transformed into a yin and yang world, separating everything. The Kuan sovereign wanted to rush out directly, but Qin Ding only coldly laughed. The Kuan sovereign seemed to have entered a yin and yang diagram. He had no way to find the exit. Wishful thinking. Qin Ding coldly spoke. The judgment halberd in his hand pierced out once more as a fearsome shockwave blasted out. The Kuan sovereign soared through the air, wanting to leave, but the attack of the judgment halberd actually ignored all distance. Blood actually shot out from the Kuan sovereign's body as he let out a roar of agony. Qin Ding, you have gone too far. Headmaster Yi spoke. He stepped out, moving towards Qin Ding only to see Thunder God appearing before him. The clear sky divine hammer directly smashed down. Today no one would allow Qin Wentian to leave. Boundless divine lightning shot towards Headmaster Yi. Headmaster Ye's expression was incomparably calm. He grabbed out with his palm and in an instant, the boundless divine lightning froze there. In fact, the entire space seemed to be frozen as a formless beam of light enveloped Thunder God. At this instant, Thunder God only felt an intense threat to his life. It was like there was an invisible giant hand directly grabbing hold of his fate. A taboo energy erupted forth from his body. Thunder God's body was bathed in boundless divine might as he released his astral souls. He was like a divine king from the 9 heavens. The vast sky was filled with boundless lightning as an illusory figure of Thunder God appeared, fighting against the invisible giant hand. What technique is this? Thunder God asked, his heart pounding. Everyone has their own fate. You guys won't be able to control Qin Wentian's fate. Headmaster Yi faintly spoke. The giant hand of fate continued pressing down. Thunder God howled in agony. This was the feeling of having his fate grasped by someone else. It was simply too unbearable. No matter how powerful his methods were, he had no way to use them. Many people stared at the battlefield. The reclusive headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy was actually so powerful. This should be the reason why the Tiandao Sacred Academy was able to stand tall in the mystic region for countless years. Chapter 1925. Everyone has their own fate. As the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, could he control the fates of others? Such a Dao art was simply too terrifying. It was definitely an ultimate Dao art that could lead one to the supreme path. Among the heavenly deities, there were also experts who entered the world of reincarnation of the Tiandao Sacred Academy back then. They suddenly recalled that in the world of reincarnation, their fates seemed to be similar to those in the outside world. Could it be that everything was predestined? At the instant they stepped into the world of reincarnation, their fates were already seen through by the world of reincarnation. Qin Ding's expression was also somewhat unsightly to behold. It was one thing for the Qiankuan sect and 9 Heavens mystical palace to interfere in this matter. But after that, the Demon God Mountain and Luo Shenchuan's group appeared. Right now, the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy appeared as well. With regards to the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy's current strength, the people in the outside world weren't very clear about it. After all, the Tiandao Sacred Academy wouldn't interfere with external matters. But now that the headmaster acted, only then did they know how powerful his cultivation base was. The Che clan leader raised his divine staff, causing the divine formations in the surroundings to transform. He stepped out and abruptly, Qin Wentian felt a sense of danger. In the next instant, The divine formation before him fluctuated as the Che clan leader directly walked out, brandishing his divine staff as he rushed towards Qin Wentian. At the same time, resplendent divine formations manifested in all directions. Many figures that looked exactly the same actually walked out. All of them were the Che clan leader. All of them had the same divine staff in their hands as they rushed towards Qin Wentian. Under the envelopment of this divine formation, it was impossible to tell which was real or which was fake. Or perhaps, all of them were real. The Kuan sovereign roared. His gigantic body swayed as a pair of wings flapped. He directly soared through the air, rushing towards a direction. Over there, the divine staff in the hands of the Che clan leader transformed into a primal chaos ancient mirror. If one entered the mirror, they would most probably be devoured. Careful. The dragon sovereign reminded. The Che clan was the #1 weaponsmithing aristocrat clan in the supreme ancient immortal realms. The divine weapons in their hands were actually able to transform into a myriad of forms, and had unfathomable abilities. In another direction, many heavenly deities rushed over here once more, surrounding Qin Wentian. With regards to the battle at Headmaster Ye's side, how could they care about it? The person they wanted to capture was Qin Wentian, who would take the initiative to fight against a powerful headmaster of Tiandao Sacred Academy. Qin Wentian's eyes were cold. It seemed that these people wanted to keep him here at all costs. He stepped down from the Kuan Lord's back and prepared to fight. But at this moment, in the center of his brows, within his final astral soul, a beam of light shot out from the boundlessly vast starry space. After that, it actually transformed into a human figure. The moment he appeared, he grabbed out with his 5 fingers. Instantly, the Che clan leader who was in front of Qin Wentian only felt that this entire spacetime was being grabbed by him. After that, everything collapsed. With a thunderous boom, the Che clan leader in that direction was completely annihilated, transforming into nothingness. The expressions of the other Che clan leader froze as he stared at the figure before him. Why did another expert appear? When Qin Wentian saw this figure, he was also stunned. He didn't dare to believe his eyes. How can this be possible? That silhouette exuded an incomparable might. He swept his gaze across the surrounding space as a terrifying might enveloped the boundless heavens. Looking at the deity-level battles that continued to erupt, he opened his mouth and suddenly let out a thunderous roar. In an instant, time and space collapsed, the heavens and the earth split apart. Countless Tao arts directly exploded, and all the battles stopped in an instant. Countless gazes landed on him. After that thunderous roar, Thunder God coughed out a mouthful of blood. His countenance was as pale as paper. As a peak character, his body was trembling slightly. This wasn't because of the thunderous roar but rather, it was because he had just struggled free from the palm of fate. That grab from the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy seemed to have grabbed hold of his fate. The thunderous roar shook the sky, causing many people to feel their eardrums trembling. Some ordinary heavenly deities were trembling as the surrounding spacetime trembled unstably. Great waves rose in their hearts. Where did this terrifying character come from? Some of the older generations of the Qin clan involuntarily trembled when they saw the figure who appeared. Many of their countenances turned pale as the lines on their faces contorted. How can this be possible? How could he appear here? The thunderous roar gradually calmed down, but the reverberations of his voice still reverberated through the air. This thunderous roar shocked the experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms, causing the deity-level battles to stop. That figure turned and stared at the Qin clan. The majestic Qin clan was still as majestic as it was in the past. However, the gaze he used to look at the Qin clan was no longer filled with love. Instead, it was filled with flames of rage. The old sect leader of the Qian Kuan sect started when he saw the imposing figure who appeared. After that, a faint smile appeared on his face. He actually appeared here. This time around, the Qin clan should be the one to be embarrassed, right? Qin Ding stared at this figure as his gaze froze there. Why would he appear here? Grandpa! Qin Wentian called out, his voice was trembling. Back then in the heaven vault, he absorbed the astral energy from the constellations in the sky. The god's extinction path vanished because of God King Shi's will. His grandpa naturally vanished along with it. Why would he appear here today? His grandpa once told him that he has already died and no longer existed. In that case, what was going on now? Child, if I don't return to the Qin clan, I won't be able to accept this. Qin Tiangang spoke. His gaze swept over the experts in the surroundings as he coldly spoke. Today, who wants to touch my grandson? How could everyone not know the identity of the person who came? He was actually a character rumored to have died long ago. He was one of the twin supreme geniuses of the Qin clan, an extremely ancient existence who was equally famous as Qin Ding. He was none other than the Qin clan's war god, Qin Tiangang. He has returned. If he didn't return to the Qin clan, he wouldn't be able to accept this in his heart. This unwillingness naturally wasn't because of his longing for the Qin clan. It was because of the Qin clan's betrayal. The Qin clan actually treated his descendant like this. After Qin Tiangang spoke, he stepped out. Every step he took seemed to trample on the hearts of everyone in the Qin clan. These juniors also knew the identity of this person. He was once the war god of their Qin clan. For the people of the Qin clan, when they looked at Qin Wentian, they treated him as the son of a traitor. They didn't feel any guilt in their hearts, but it was different for Qin Tiangang. Many juniors, including the current heavenly deities of the Qin clan, had witnessed his legendary growth. However, the Qin clan was once the pride of the Qin clan. He was once the war god, but how did the Qin clan treat his descendant? Hence, when Qin Tiangang appeared, many people involuntarily lowered their heads, not daring to look him in the eye. Qin Jun, you are now also a heavenly deity. Back then when your family was surrounded, who was the one who saved you? Qin Tiangong's gaze landed on a heavenly deity of the Qin clan. That heavenly deity's expression twitched as he lowered his head, not daring to meet Qin Tiangong's gaze. Qin Wang, back then you were extremely talented and loved to learn. You would often come to me for guidance. How did I treat you? Qin Tiangang glanced at another person as he spoke. This person was also a heavenly deity. Uncle Mu, back then, how much have I done for the Qin clan? You should be clearer than this, junior, in your heart, right? Qin Tiangang glanced at an extremely ancient heavenly deity of the Qin clan. His seniority was even higher compared to Qin Tiangang. Many people in the Qin clan lowered their heads. Many juniors of the Qin clan could clearly sense this strange atmosphere. Qin Wentian's grandfather actually had such prestige? In that case, how did the Qin clan treat my descendants? Qin Tiangong's voice suddenly turned cold, suppressing his anger. Qin Yuanfeng betrayed the clan and deserved to die. What did the clan do wrong? A cold voice rang out. This was a heavenly deity who was a trusted aide of Qin Ding's faction. The treasures I obtained were passed down to my son. Just because of this, the Qin clan killed my son Yuanfeng and seized everything he had. Now they even acted against my grandson Wentian. The Qin clan didn't do anything wrong? Qin Tiangang coldly laughed. All of a sudden, his palm grabbed forward. Careful, Qin Ding warned, but it was already too late. With this grab of Qin Tiangang, even time and space seemed to be grasped by him. That heavenly deity was trapped there by a formless gigantic palm. No matter how he unleashed his Dao arts, he had no way to break free. Didn't I do anything wrong? Qin Tiangang lightly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, his body soared through the air as he punched out, slamming into the chest of that heavenly deity. His body flew downwards together with that heavenly deity. With a thunderous boom, the buildings of the Qin clan directly collapsed. That heavenly deity of the Qin clan was buried within. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out. The buildings smashed into Qin Tiangong's body, but they had no way to cause any damage to him. He stood above the ruins and stared at the pale faces of the people of the Qin clan. Since I didn't do anything wrong, the Qin clan killed my son. Since I killed them today, I won't have let down my ancestors. Heavenly deities couldn't even withstand a single strike. The hearts of the experts here trembled. Everything that happened today was completely out of control. No one could have predicted this. The war god of the Qin clan, Qin Tiangang, actually returned. Tiangang. At this moment, Qin Ding stepped over, walking towards Qin Tiangang as he spoke. I was the one who gave the order back then. The Qin clan is your clan. Why must you implicate them? My clan? Qin Tiangang stared at Qin Ding, who was walking over, as he coldly laughed. My clan wouldn't kill my son, yet they want to take the life of my grandson. Everything is for the sake of the clan's strength. Qin Ding spoke. He stared at Qin Tiangang. Tiangang, back then, everything about you has already dissipated. Why are you still able to return? Do you want to ask me if I'm still alive or dead? Qin Tiangang coldly laughed. Qin Ding, you are still as hypocritical as ever. I won't hide this from you. I've long died in the god's extinction path. I'm sure you also know that I met Wen Tian in the god's extinction path. After I learned of everything, I was filled with unwillingness. I wanted to come to the Qin clan to ask you all, to ask the Qin clan why they dared to be so heartless. I still don't understand. Since you are already dead, why are you still able to return? Qin Ding asked again. The pinnacle of the Tao can allow one to traverse the past and the future. I came from the past, bringing unwillingness with me. Qin Tiangang didn't conceal the fact that he had already died. As the sound of his voice faded, Qin Ding's eyes froze. The hearts of the experts here also trembled, bringing unwillingness with them as they came from the past. He didn't die in the past. His obsession from the past had traversed to the future, and was sealed within Qin Wentian's body. He wanted to come to the Qin clan to take a look, and ask the people of the Qin clan. His Tao has already touched upon that realm. Many heavenly deities yearned for this realm. However, he has already died. Chapter 1926. Although many people were enemies with Qin Ding at the moment, they still felt that it was a pity. An expert who had touched the limits of the Tao had fallen. Although God King Shi died, his body transformed into the heaven vault, his will transformed into the deity extinction path, and his spirit transformed into the tiny astral being. Such heaven-defying methods were something that heavenly deities didn't dare to imagine. And now, Qin Tiangang's methods were similarly world-shaking. His already dead body traversed through time and space to return with unwillingness. My brother, if you want to hate someone, then hate me. Everything is for the sake of the clan. I have a clear conscience. Qin Ding stared at Qin Tiangang as he spoke. Ha ha ha, what a good having a clear conscience. Qin Tiangang laughed loudly. He flew towards the Qin clan as he spoke in a clear voice. For the sake of the Qin clan, I've contributed so much. But in the end, they only helped you and your son. I barged into the heaven vault, obtained a secret treasure and passed it to Yuan Feng. Yet, you guys actually coveted it, wanting to seize everything from me, Qin Tiangang. Do you want to take everything for yourself? Is this considered having a clear conscience? The people of the Qin clan had no words to refute. Since ancient times, benefits always came first. Back then when Qin Ding was in power, it was still fine if Qin Tiangang didn't die, he would be able to suppress his ambitions. But now that Qin Tiangang and his wife died, Qin Yuanfeng obtained the secret treasure, and Qin Ding wanted to seize it. It was only natural. The people of the Qin clan didn't feel that there was anything wrong with that, and decided to follow fate. At that time, other than some of Qin Tiangang's followers and some of his trusted aides, no one else stood out to support Qin Yuanfeng. In fact, some of his trusted aides even betrayed him. This was the general trend. But now Qin Tiangang has returned. What could the Qin clan say? Back then, since I put in so much effort for the sake of the Qin clan leader, today, I shall personally destroy it. The Qin clan owes me. Qin Tiangang coldly spoke. A terrifying storm ravaged the entire Qin clan. Terrifying space-time currents gushed forth as rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly. Buildings collapsed one after another as many experts screamed in pain. Qin Tiangang closed his eyes. This was his clan, but he hated it. His clan had not only killed his bloodline, they had also killed his son, and even wanted to strip his son of everything. And now they were going to deal with his grandson. Back then, all the heavenly deities participated in the assassination of my son. How could there be such a heartless clan in this world? Qin Tiangang stomped out, causing the ground of the Qin clan to crumble. You can't do this. A heavenly deity stepped over, wanting to block Qin Tiangang. This was none other than Qin Jun. Earlier, Qin Tiangang said that he once saved his family. Back then, I saved your family, Yet you repaid my kindness with enmity, killing my children and grandchildren. Since that's the case, King Qin, I'll return your life." Qin Tiangang spoke. He punched out, causing time and space to shatter. Terrifying spatial cracks appeared around Qin Jun, wanting to tear everything apart. No. Qin Jun's countenance drastically changed, revealing boundless terror. How could Qin Wentian be so strong? Boom. With a single punch, Qin Jun's body exploded. Another heavenly deity died. Outside the Qin clan, countless experts no longer fought. Qin Tiangong's return caused the deity-level battles to stop. The world returned to silence. He traveled through time, bringing with him unwillingness to take revenge. Within the Qin clan, sharp screams rang out unceasingly. Qin Ding's expression was cold. He didn't look for Qin Tiangang but instead, headed straight for Qin Wentian. Stepping out, Qin Ding soared through the air. The judgment halberd in his hand directly pierced out, causing a beam of destructive light to appear, penetrating through all Dao arts as it shot towards Qin Wentian. A giant palm imprint descended, akin to the hand of the heavens, blocking the attack of the judgment halberd. Headmaster Ye's figure appeared beside Qin Wentian. "Qin Ding!" Qin Tiangang roared. He waved his hand, blasting towards the Qin clan. After that, he turned and moved towards Qin Ding. Qin Ding did this precisely because he wanted to attract Qin Tiangang to fight against him. Although Qin Tiangang has come into contact with the pinnacle of Dao arts, he was still a dead man after all. Qin Tiangang brought his unwillingness to accept this as he traveled through time. He wasn't afraid of how much combat prowess he had. His body soared up as the judgment halberd in his hand directly blasted out. Yin and Yang manifested in heaven and earth, transforming into a yin-yang sky, capable of destroying everything. Qin Tiangang roared in rage. He opened his mouth, like a heaven-devouring demonic beast, actually devouring the yin-yang sky. His mouth seemed to contain boundless space-time, able to devour everything. "Grandfather, let's go and save Senior Han." Qin Wentian spoke. Back then, Qin Wentian wanted to use the Qin clan's heavenly deities to exchange for Luotian Han. However, Qin Zheng's plot failed and the exchange didn't succeed. Luotian Han and the 10 world overlords of the Luotian clan were still trapped in the Qin clan. "Senior Kuan." Qin Wentian spoke. The Kuan sovereign's silhouette flashed as he soared through the air, speeding towards the direction of the Qin clan. There were many experts in the surroundings, including those heavenly deities who acted against Qin Wentian earlier. However, none of them acted to stop Qin Wentian. Right now, they all felt trepidation in their hearts. The Qin clan's war god Qin Tiangang who returned was simply too powerful. Ordinary heavenly deities were like ants before him. In this situation where the battle between him and Qin Ding was still unclear, everyone felt trepidation in their hearts and didn't dare to act recklessly. In addition, the 2 generations of sect leaders of the Qiankuan sect, the 9 Heavens mystical maiden, and the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy were all here. They wouldn't allow them to kill Qin Wentian. In such a situation they could only watch from the sidelines. No one was willing to be dragged into it. If Qin Tiangang, who returned in a fit of rage, targeted them, wouldn't they only have a path of death? The Kuan sovereign soared through the air, directly arriving at the center of the Qin clan. His heavenly deity divine sense enveloped this boundless space, and instantly found the place where Luotian Han and the 10 heavenly deities of the Luotian clan were trapped. They were imprisoned in a spatial divine weapon and had seen everything that happened outside. They felt extremely agitated in their hearts. Right now there was hope for them to escape. Divine punishment light descended. Qin Zheng wanted to block it but Luotian Chuan summoned the myriad of demons and rushed towards Qin Zheng with a single step. Qin Zheng's wife also came to block. The dragon sovereign soared into the air. His sharp claws tore apart the sky as he attacked Qin Zheng. Qin Dangtian rushed over. The heaven-devouring demon sovereign stepped out, rushing towards him. Jian Junlai also acted, blocking the Qin clan's heavenly deities. No one could stop the Kuan sovereign. He ignored the obstruction of the Dao and continued flying towards his destination. "Kill Luotian Han." Qin Zheng commanded, his voice cold to the extreme. A heavenly deity guarding there received the order. The spatial prison suddenly radiated boundless light as Tao energy erupted forth. At this moment, a beam of sword light shot through everything, containing the might of the Tao of spacetime. That sword was like a great rock, extremely fast, and landed on the spatial prison. A thunderous boom rang out as the prison shattered. Qin Wentian stepped out, directly moving towards that heavenly deity. Dimensional storms gushed forth as that heavenly deity hurriedly retreated. In this short instant, the Kuan sovereign already arrived at Luoshanhan's location. Luoshanhan and the world overlord of the Luoshan clan both had looks of joy on their faces. After that, they were enveloped by the Kuan sovereign's wings and were brought onto the Kuan sovereign's body. Go. The Kuan sovereign spoke. I will kill this person first. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. There were many heavenly deities in the Qin clan, and many of them were killed. Now if he could kill one, he wouldn't show mercy. With a single glance, that heavenly deity of the Qin clan directly entered Qin Wentian's divine eye, entering Qin Wentian's spacetime realm. Right now in the Qin clan, there truly weren't many heavenly deities who could block Qin Wentian. The people from afar all felt their hearts trembling when they saw the battle and the situation of the Qin clan. Today was a joyous day for the Qin clan. Qin Dangtian was going to marry the #1 beauty of the heaven region, goddess Nikhang. But most probably, no one would have imagined that the Qin clan, which was flourishing for a period of time, would receive such a destructive blow today. The blow this time around was something that even a peak power of the heaven region, the Qin clan, would find it hard to endure. At this moment, in the depths of the Qin clan, a terrifying aura that caused the hearts of everyone to palpitate suddenly gushed forth. What else is the Qin clan hiding? Many people glanced over only to hear a heavy rumbling sound. That aura grew increasingly terrifying. Wentian, let's go. The Kuan sovereign spoke. Qin Wentian has already killed that heavenly deity of the Qin clan. After that, his silhouette flashed as he returned to the back of the Kuan sovereign. The Kuan sovereign's silhouette flashed, bringing everyone back. Qin Zheng and the others also didn't dare to chase after them. Right now, they no longer held the advantage. What aura is that? Luo Shenchuan stared at the depths of the Qin clan. Over there, cracks could be seen on a stone tablet. There were ancient words engraved on the stone tablet. It seemed to be the tombstone of an ancestor of the Qin clan. When cracks appeared on the stone tablet, the inscriptions actually turned blood red. The blood qi grew stronger and stronger as beams of terrifying blood-colored light shot up into the sky. Qin Ding, who was currently fighting against Qin Tiangang, sensed something. The judgment halberd in his hand arced through the air and pointed downwards. In an instant, boundless blood-colored light actually shot up from the Qin clan, connecting with the judgment halberd. The terrifying blood-colored light flowed unceasingly into the halberd, causing the might of the judgment halberd to grow increasingly terrifying. At this moment, the people of the world recalled the rumor. The judgment halberd was forged by an extremely powerful ancestor of the Qin clan before he died. Could it be that the owner of the blood was? When they thought of this, the hearts of many trembled. Tiangang, your actions have angered even my ancestor. Qin Ding spoke. The heavens and earth are heartless. If my ancestor feels that you are right, he isn't worthy to be my ancestor. Qin Tiangang coldly spoke. He punched out, causing the depths of the Qin clan to tremble, wanting to shatter the stone tablet. So what if his ancestor was here? To him, his son and grandson were his most important kin. Killing his son and wanting to kill his grandson, he didn't care about his ancestor. The blood of his ancestor flowed into the judgment halberd, causing the entire sky to be enveloped by a blood-colored light as the pressure from the Qin clan increased by many times. Your life was passed down by my ancestor. You are already dead, yet you still return to take revenge on your clan. Now my ancestor wants you to die. Qin Ding spoke. As the sound of the word die faded, the judgment halberd blasted out once more. At this instant, boundless judgment light enveloped the entire sky. There was nowhere for Qin Tiangang to escape. Qin Tiangang could sense the might of the judgment light. He didn't evade and walked towards it step by step as he spoke. I'm already dead, what's there to be afraid of? However, you have to accompany me in death. After speaking, he formed a seal with both his hands. The entire sky trembled as though it was about to be torn apart. The order of heaven and earth was about to be disrupted. Cracks appeared in the sky, incomparably dark, causing fear to appear in the hearts of those who saw it. Qin Ding stared at the cracks in space as his expression turned ashen. He could no longer remain calm as he roared in rage. "What are you doing? I want you to sink into this chaotic space-time." As the sound of Qin Ding's voice faded, the sky seemed to truly be torn apart. The bodies of the two of them actually vanished together with the space-time, sinking into the darkness, vanishing without a trace. At this instant, the entire world was silent, so silent that it was terrifying. Chapter 1927. Qin Tiangang and Qin Ding's bodies vanished together, vanishing without a trace. They entered the boundlessly chaotic space-time. Qin Tiangang, who could travel through time to come here, his comprehension of the Tao of space-time had already reached a limit. Qin Ding was the strongest existence in the Qin clan. He wielded the judgment halberd, but he was still brought away by Qin Tiangang. One must know that Qin Tiangang was someone who had already died. He didn't exist, he was someone who came from the past. His arrival caused the Qin clan to suffer a true calamity. If the Qin clan could be said to be one of the strongest powers in the supreme ancient immortal realms in the past, they would most probably fall behind now. At the very least, the Qianquan sect would definitely surpass the Qin clan. This might be a turning point. The Qin clan that once flourished would fall from glory to decline. Boom! The space trembled. A blood-colored beam of light shot through the sky as a shocking might bore down. After that, the judgment halberd actually shot through the air, heading straight for the depths of the Qin clan. With a thunderous boom, the judgment halberd pierced into the Qin clan. The place where the stone tablet was located earlier was dyed red. The judgment halberd actually returned. The eyes of everyone narrowed as they stared at the sky. There was no movement. Qin Ding couldn't return. The judgment halberd might have returned, because of its connection with the blood on the stone tablet. It was created by the ancestor of the Qin clan, and there seemed to be a remnant will of the ancestor left behind. "Father." Qin Zheng clenched his fists tightly. He inclined his head and stared at the sky. The judgment halberd returned, but his father never returned. He took out his messaging crystal, wanting to contact his father, but there was no reply. His father had completely vanished, brought into the boundlessly chaotic spacetime by Qin Tiangang. In the ruins of the Qin clan, countless experts inclined their heads, staring at Qin Ding's disappearance. All of them felt extremely uncomfortable in their hearts. In the ancient records of the Qin clan, the existence of Qin Ding and Qin Tiangang allowed the Qin clan to welcome a glorious era. The two of them were extremely powerful, allowing the Qin clan to grow stronger and stronger. But after that, the Qin clan acted against Qin Tiangang's son. Now, Qin Tiangang returned with reluctance, wiping out everything he did for the Qin clan. Was he wrong? How did the Qin clan treat his descendants? Grandfather. Qin Wentian stood on the back of the Kuan sovereign. He inclined his head and stared at the sky. His grandfather traveled through time and space to come here. He killed a heavenly deity, wiped out the Qin clan, and buried the Qin cauldron. How imposing was this? How dazzling was this? But now his grandfather had also disappeared. If he could choose, he would rather his grandfather, Qin Tiangang, live on than perish together with Qin Ding. At this moment, Qin Zheng walked towards the judgment halberd. He stretched out his hand and grasped the judgment halberd. Fresh blood flowed into his palm, and a blood-red light radiated from his body. His long hair danced wildly as though he was inheriting the judgment halberd. A suffocating pressure emanated from the judgment halberd, as though it wanted to judge everyone in the mortal world. Qin Zheng's eyes turned blood-red. His long black hair was also dyed red. He held onto the halberd as he stared at the sky. His blood-red eyes were terrifying to the extreme, shooting up into the clouds. Arg! A long howl rang out, filled with Qin Ding's rage. The blood-red light engulfed the entire Qin city. The Qianquan sect leader frowned. He could feel this pressure. He walked towards Qin Wentian and spoke. "Qin Wentian, the matter today has ended. It's time for you to leave." Qin Wentian stared at the Qianquan sect leader. Although both of them came to an agreement, It was clearly impossible for the Qiankuan sect leader to help him kill Qin Zheng. Even if Qin Ding had already died, the Qiankuan sect wouldn't do this. It wasn't in their interest to make such a terrifying enemy. The Qiankuan sect wouldn't. The Nine Heavens Mystical Palace wouldn't. As for the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, Qin Wentian had no way to request anything from this senior. This was the first time he met with Headmaster Yi. He was already extremely grateful that Headmaster Yi came to help him. Could it be that he wanted Headmaster Yi to help him destroy the Qin clan? Qin Wentian glanced at the experts in the air. Numerous gazes were staring at him. Many of them still had intense ambitions for him. Qin Wentian glanced at the crazed Qin Zheng as his countenance turned cold. Grandpa, you are right. The Qin clan isn't worthy of being our clan. What you didn't do, your grandson will finish it. Qin Wentian stared at the sky. Senior Kuan, let's return. Right. The Kuan sovereign nodded. Luo Shenchuan and the other experts returned to the back of the Kuan sovereign. After that, the Kuan sovereign soared up into the sky. Go. The old sect leader of the Qiankuan sect gave the order. The Nine Heavens Mystical Palace also retreated. In an instant, the experts from the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms all retreated. This time around, no one obstructed them. Clearly, these experts understood that today, they most probably wouldn't be able to make Qin Wentian stay. Although Qin Tiangang and Qin Ding died together, the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy and the old sect leader of the Qiankuan sect were still around. Who would be able to deal with these two? How fast was the Kuan sovereign? In an instant, he soared into the sky, vanishing without a trace. The people from the Qiankuan sect and Nine Heavens Mystical Palace also left, leaving behind the experts from the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms who stared at the sky in a daze. They glanced at the ruins of the Qin clan again, as well as Qin Zheng, who was still refining the judgment halberd. Everything felt like a dream. Even now, no one dared to imagine that all of this was real. There were also people who stared at Qin Dangtian. Heaven's son Qin Dangtian stood on the ruins in a dispirited manner. His once elegant black hair was now extremely disheveled. His entire person seemed to have lost his spirit, qi and spirit, as though he had been defeated. Today, to Heaven's son, could truly be considered a calamity. Once, he became a deity with a single battle, crippling the heavenly mandate realm. How glorious was that! Today, he was sent to hell in a single battle, losing to Qin Wentian, who was younger than him. Qin Wentian could be considered his clan brother. In addition, Qin Wentian even made a move on his fiancée, causing him, who was supposed to be getting married, to suffer endless humiliation. Just like what Qin Wentian has said, the title of Heaven's Son was like a joke. From today onwards, Heaven's Son would no longer be a title revered by others. Everyone in the world would remember that Heaven's son Qin Dangtian was pale, and his fiancée was snatched away by someone else. There were countless people in Qin City. Many people learned of what happened in the Qin clan. They saw the battle in the sky. They saw the tallest building of the Qin clan collapsing. The place of faith in Qin City had collapsed. That incomparably holy and powerful clan was now in ruins. Who would have thought that the day of the Qin clan's grand wedding would become the day of destruction? Some people who heard the rumors of the Qin clan sighed in their hearts. Once, Qin Yuanfeng defeated Qin Zheng. However, he eventually died when he slaughtered his way into the Qin clan. Now, Qin Yuanfeng's son, Qin Wentian, defeated Qin Zheng's son, Qin Dangtian. However, Qin Wentian didn't repeat the same mistakes. Not only did he not die, he even caused the Qin clan to lose all face. Naturally, the person who had the greatest impact today was none other than the battle god of the Qin clan, Qin Tiangang. His will traversed through time and space, bringing along reluctance as he came to the clan he once fought for. Once, he fought for the sake of the strength of his clan. But today he personally destroyed it, burying the supreme expert of the Qin clan, Qin Ding, in the chaotic flows of time and space. With regards to all of this, the people of the Qin clan felt it the most. Qin Wentian was once the battle god of their Qin clan, the pride of their Qin clan. But now, weapons were drawn against each other, traversing through time and space to take revenge. Who was the one who caused all of this? It was their Qin clan. They killed the battle god son of the Qin clan, and now they wanted to kill Qin Tiangong's grandson, Qin Wentian. Many of them suddenly felt a sense of regret. Why would the Qin clan make such a decision back then, acting against Qin Yuanfeng? If the Qin clan didn't act against Qin Yuanfeng back then, how glorious would it be? Qin Zheng and his wife, in addition to Qin Yuanfeng, how glorious would that be? In this generation, what would Qin Wentian and Qin Dangtian be like? Just imagining it caused everyone's hearts to involuntarily tremble. Although everything seemed so unrealistic, it was possible for the Qin clan to do so. But the Qin clan chose another path. In the future, the Qin clan originally had a chance to stand at the peak of the supreme ancient immortal realms. But now they were left behind by the Qiankuan sect and Nine Heavens mystical palace in the heaven region. The wind gusted by. However, everyone was still immersed in their own world, deep in thought. Everyone felt endless emotions in their hearts. Everything that happened in the Qin clan also spread like the wind. First it was Qin City. After that, it spread to the heaven region. After that, it spread to the entire supreme ancient immortal realms. The supreme ancient immortal realms trembled. What happened in the Qin clan caused countless people to discuss this matter. The shock in their hearts was incomparably great. Qin Wentian's name once again resounded through the supreme ancient immortal realms, surpassing heaven's son Qin Dangtian. Many people said that Qin Wentian was the true son of heaven. If not, how could he have 12 astral souls? Similarly, the battle god of the Qin clan, Qin Tiangong, whose name also shook the supreme ancient immortal realms. Countless people sighed, wanting nothing more than to witness the glory of the battle god. Sadly, they would never have the chance to do so. Also, the mysterious headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy was often mentioned. With a casual strike of his, he could control the lives of others. The Thunder Clan leader was controlled by a single strike of his. How terrifying was that? Hence, in the mystic region, countless people headed to the Tiandao Sacred Academy to cultivate, going there on a pilgrimage. Other than this, Goddess Nikhang would also occasionally be mentioned. Many people would sigh in their hearts when Goddess Nikhang was mentioned. This number one beauty of the heaven region, no one knew what her fate was now. Some people said that although Qin Wentian was unparalleled in the world, it was too cruel to treat Goddess Nikhang in order to take revenge on the Qin clan. He should replace Qin Dangtian and marry Goddess Nikhang, giving Goddess Nikhang an explanation. If not, this stain would follow Goddess Nikhang for the rest of her life. Such voices were the most common in the Heaven region and Boundless City. In the Boundless Sea region, the waves continued to churn. At the point where the sea connected to the sky, there were still many people here. However, there were no more heavenly deities from the various hegemonic powers here. How would they dare to block the path here? Right now, the strength of the Heaven Vault was already so strong that none of the hegemonic powers dared to face it alone. After that battle back then, there was news that many experts from the Qiankuan sect and Nine Heavens mystical palace had entered the Heaven Vault for cultivation. In the Heaven region, out of the 3 hegemonic powers, 2 of them entered the Heaven Vault. Only the Qin clan was an exception. Qin Wentian had completely isolated the Qin clan in the Heaven region. Chapter 1928. For this storm, the one who had the greatest impact was undoubtedly the Qin clan. After that, the other hegemonic powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms would be affected. Although they didn't seem to have suffered any actual losses in this battle, many powers had completely offended Qin Wentian. They were very clear what this meant. Once Qin Wentian continued to grow and surpass them in the future, who could guarantee that Qin Wentian wouldn't look for them to settle the debt? The situation in the supreme ancient immortal realms was changing. In addition, there would be even greater changes in the future. A voice rang out. Qin Wentian had condensed 12 astral souls and might still be concealing some. He displayed shocking talent and defeated Heaven's son Qin Dangtian. In the future, he might be the same as his grandfather Qin Tiangong, who just returned, ascending to the peak of the deity realm. If that day arrived, those powers who offended him before, even if they weren't annihilated, would they still be able to act like they were now? Qin Wentian could use his talent and the advantage of the Heaven Vault to ascend to the peak. Most probably, all the major powers in the immortal realms would become his vassals, including the Qianquan sect and Nine Heavens mystical palace. These voices had ill intentions, wanting to sow discord between Qin Wentian and the Qianquan sect and Nine Heavens mystical palace. After all, many experts from these two hegemonic powers were currently cultivating in the Heaven Vault. They were in a cooperative relationship. Things would be interesting if they started to suspect each other. At this moment, in the airspace above the Boundless Sea region, the Heaven Vault had already become a hegemonic power, causing the entire supreme ancient immortal realms to feel uneasy. Within the Heaven Vault, in the starry space, a group of people sat together and were enjoying a banquet. Among these people there were Qin Wentian, the Qianquan sect leader, Nine Heavens mystical maiden, Luo Shenchuan and the other heavenly deities. The Qianquan sect sent news that there are many rumors circulating outside that are extremely disadvantageous to you. Clearly, many people are unwilling to accept the outcome of the battle at the Qin clan. Also, the talent you displayed caused them to feel uneasy. The Qianquan sect leader stared at Qin Wentian as he spoke. Sitting together with Qin Wentian, his heart was filled with emotions. If it was in the past, he definitely wouldn't dare to imagine that a junior would be able to sit together with him. But regardless of him or the Nine Heavens mystical maiden, both of them couldn't help but to admit that Qin Wentian now already had the qualifications to sit together with them. This wasn't because of the Heaven Vault, it was because of his strength and the talent he displayed. From the moment I took control of the Heaven Vault, wasn't everything already destined? Either they finish me off or they can't finish me off, they would naturally feel uneasy. Qin Wentian smiled and said. However, the battle with the Qin clan was extremely dangerous. I will not forget the kindness of Sect Master and Fairy Nine Heavens. Why did you choose my Nine Heavens mystical palace and the Qianquan sect back then? The Nine Heavens mystical maiden stared at Qin Wentian as she asked. Qin Wentian turned his gaze to the Nine Heavens mystical maiden, staring at this number one beauty in the Nine Heavens. Unmasked admiration could be seen in his eyes. She was too beautiful, looking at her at such a close distance was definitely a type of enjoyment. Her beauty was transcendent, like she wasn't a beauty of the mortal world. She was the Nine Heavens mystical maiden, the number one beauty in the mortal world. Beautiful things would always cause people to have a favorable impression of them. Qin Wentian joked. You really know how to talk. People in the outside world say that it's because we and the Qin clan are both hegemonic powers of the Heaven region. But you are helping the Qin clan to become enemies with both of the Heaven region, isolating the Qin clan. The Nine Heavens mystical maiden laughed. Since Fairy Nine Heavens already knows, why is there a need to ask so much? Qin Wentian laughed. You only chose us two hegemonic powers. You should have thought that the situation would be extremely difficult, right? At that time, why didn't you pull in more hegemonic powers? Were you worried that if there were too many hegemonic powers, they might devour you and seize the Heaven Vault? The Qianquan sect leader laughed as he stared at Qin Wentian. The Qianquan sect and Nine Heavens mystical palace are already so powerful. If we add in more hegemonic powers, I'm truly afraid. Qin Wentian laughed, feeling very calm. Haha, Qin Wentian, you are truly straightforward. Right now, there are rumors in the outside world saying that you might rise to the peak of the supreme ancient immortal realms 1,000 years later. If that day really comes, what should my Qianquan sect and Nine Heavens mystical palace do? The Qianquan sect leader stared at Qin Wentian as he asked. Clearly, this voice affected the Qianquan sect leader. This was indeed a problem he had to consider. Sect leader and Fairy Nine Heavens are also cultivating in the Heaven Vault. Why are you so lacking in confidence? Qin Wentian replied. Why isn't it the sect leader and Fairy Nine Heavens who have ascended to the peak? Your growth is truly terrifying. The Qianquan sect leader stared at Qin Wentian. According to what Lin Xiao said, a few hundred years ago, you entered the Tiandao Sacred Academy together with him, and entered the Reincarnation Sacred Ground. Now just a few hundred years later, you can already defeat Qin Dangtian. At that time, Qin Dangtian was someone you could easily crush. In addition, you obtained a secret treasure, an astral soul that can surpass the restrictions of the heavenly Tao. and the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy acted for you. Hence, although I won't belittle myself, I still feel that if there's someone among us who can ascend to the peak, that person would naturally be you. The Nine Heavens mystical maiden and the Qiankuan sect leader both stared at Qin Wentian. She and the Qiankuan sect leader were both peak characters that controlled hegemonic powers in the supreme ancient immortal realms. But in terms of potential, they were all inferior to Qin Wentian. If I ascend to the peak, what do you two hope for me to do? Qin Wentian counterasked. Clearly, these two hegemonic characters were somewhat worried. For hegemonic powers like the Qiankuan sect and Nine Heavens mystical palace, they naturally didn't wish to become vassals. The Qiankuan sect leader and Nine Heavens mystical maiden didn't say anything. Qin Wentian asked again. Right now, in the supreme ancient immortal realms, are there still existences that surpass everyone else? In the history of the supreme ancient immortal realms, there have been some existences that surpass the masses. It's just that in the current supreme ancient immortal realms, according to the guesses of the people of the world, there seems to be only one person who stands at the peak. That person is in the Pure Land of Bliss in the Universe region. The Qiankuan sect leader replied. The Universe region has always been incomparably stable throughout the countless years. The other territories in the supreme ancient immortal realms are split up into various hegemonic powers. Only the Universe region is different. No other hegemonic powers are able to shake the Universe region's rule in the Western regions. Over there, everyone believes in the Buddhist Tao. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. The Qiankuan sect leader guessed that there might be an existence comparable to a god king in the Buddhist sect. But clearly, this god king hasn't appeared for countless years. Even the Qiankuan sect leader wasn't absolutely sure. What about those god kings of the past? The supreme ancient immortal realms has existed for countless years, and there are countless of them. No one can trace their origins. Where are the god kings of the past? Qin Wentian asked. For god kings, as long as they don't appear in the world, they basically wouldn't die of old age. They could be said to be undying existences. Although the supreme ancient immortal realms has existed for countless years, it's unknown how many years it would take for a peak character to be born. Also, there was once a heaven-shaking deity-level battle in the supreme ancient immortal realms. There might be god kings who died, or maybe there might be god kings who pursued the supreme Tao, but encountered a path they couldn't traverse. In the end they died, leaving behind only their remains for the later generations. The Qiankuan sect leader replied. Qin Wentian nodded his head lightly. He already knew about that battle. The world-ending battle in ancient Azure Mystic should be considered a heaven-shaking deity-level battle, right? As for those who died on the path of pursuing the Tao, wasn't God King Shi the same? Most probably, it wasn't an easy thing to surpass the restraints of the 9 heavenly layers and roam the world beyond. Qin Wentian was also thinking that after countless years, there would definitely be people who have already transcended. However, those people most probably have long since ceased to care about the affairs of the world. At that level, what was there to contend about the matters of the world? Qin Wentian thought of the white-robed mysterious man. Has he reached that level? His gaze turned to the Qiankuan sect leader and 9 heavens mystical maiden. Qin Wentian suddenly laughed. If there's a day when I can truly reach that step, what meaning do the hegemonic powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms have to me? The eyes of the two of them flashed. It seemed that this was indeed the case. The hegemonic powers are guessing that they are afraid of such an existence appearing because they have offended me, or because they are afraid of unknown experts. However, if such an existence really appeared in the supreme ancient immortal realms, would I still need to rule over the supreme ancient immortal realms? If I sit here, who in the world wouldn't revere me? At that time, even if the two of you are seniors, would you still think of restraining me? Shouldn't you be seeking guidance instead? Qin Wentian calmly replied. The Qiankuan sect leader and 9 heavens mystical maiden stared at him. They were speechless for a long time. If such a day really came and Qin Wentian sat here, most probably, everyone in the world would come here to worship him. Chapter 1929. Boundless City, the Chu Residence. Right now the Chu residence was extremely quiet. There was no sound at all. Occasionally, there would be people passing by and they would glance at the Chu residence. Inside, not only was there a heavenly deity, there was also the #1 beauty of the heaven region. But now, when many people glanced over, they discovered that the gates of the Chu residence were tightly shut. They couldn't help but feel a little strange. After the incident in the Qin clan, Goddess Nichang's reputation was tarnished. The incomparably pure and holy goddess Nikhang now seemed to have a shadow on her. At this moment, a powerful spatial fluctuation could be felt in the air. After that, a figure walked down from the air. This figure was extraordinarily handsome and was clad in white. When the people outside the Chu residence saw him, their hearts involuntarily trembled as they instantly guessed the identity of the person who just arrived. Right now in the supreme ancient immortal realms, his fame was unrivaled. No one could stand shoulder to shoulder with him. This person was none other than Qin Wentian. He swept out with his divine sense and sensed the situation in the Chu residence. He frowned and stepped out, entering the Chu residence. Right now, the Chu residence was completely empty. It was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. It was actually empty. Grandpa Chu and Goddess Nikhang were no longer in the Chu residence. What happened? Qin Wentian mused, feeling somewhat worried. He took out his messaging crystal and sent his divine sense in. Grandpa Chu, why didn't I see you and Nikhang in the Chu residence? There was no instant reply. After that, Chu Shen's reply rang out in Qin Wentian's mind. Wentian, Nikhang and I have left Boundless City. We will be going to a very faraway place. You don't have to worry about us. Chu Shen spoke. Qin Wentian's expression stiffened. Nothing happened to Chu Shen and Goddess Nikhang. He felt more at ease. However, their departure caused him to feel some guilt as well as a sense of disappointment. Grandpa Chu, why did you guys suddenly leave? You didn't even tell me anything. Where are you guys going now? Qin Wentian asked again. I'm already old. Nikhang said that she wanted to find a quiet place to take care of me. There's no need for you to look for me. When the time comes, we will naturally meet again. Chu Shen smiled. Qin Wentian's face was filled with guilt as he asked, Grandpa Chu, is it because of me? In the Qin clan he achieved his goal. In the end, Goddess Nikhang didn't marry Qin Dangtian. He avoided the awkward situation where Nikhang was Qin Dangtian's wife when he was dealing with Qin Dangtian. However, everything he did, what could it be considered to Goddess Nikhang? What exactly was she thinking? That day, she told a lie and sullied her innocence and chastity. His glory was boundless and now, his name resounded throughout the supreme ancient immortal realms. As for Goddess Nikhang, she actually silently left amidst all the rumors. Grandpa Chu, I can clarify what Nikhang of the Qin clan said to the world, Qin Wentian said. Wentian, there's no need. This is Nichang's own choice. Just cultivate well. In the future, I hope that no matter where you go to in the supreme ancient immortal realms, I would be able to hear of your legend. Chu Shen smiled. After that, no matter what Qin Wentian said, he didn't reply. After a long time, Qin Wentian finally kept his messaging crystal. He stared at the silence of the Chu residence as he felt somewhat down in his heart. Finally, he let out a sigh and soared into the air, departing the area. Staring at his disappearing figure, the hearts of many people below were still filled with emotions. Qin Wentian was now a legendary character in the supreme ancient immortal realms. He was known as the person with the highest talent in this generation. In a situation where the entire supreme ancient immortal realms wanted to deal with him, he was actually still alive and managed to avert danger. Right now, the experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms didn't even dare to encircle the heaven vault anymore. After Qin Wentian returned to the heaven vault, he was still depressed for many days because of this matter. He initially hoped to persuade Chu Shen and Goddess Nikhang to come to the heaven vault for cultivation. However, he couldn't even find them. The supreme ancient immortal realms were so vast. Even though he was a heavenly deity, it was still as difficult as ascending the heavens if he wanted to find someone. Today, outside the heaven vault in the Boundless Sea region, many figures appeared, attracting the attention of Qin Wentian, who was in the heaven vault. After understanding the situation, these people actually wanted to meet with Qin Wentian. This caused Qin Wentian to feel somewhat strange. According to them, these people outside the Heaven Vault were all people from major powers in Boundless City. Qin Wentian thought about it and agreed, allowing them to enter the Heaven Vault. Naturally, he didn't allow them to enter the Heaven Vault for cultivation. He only agreed to meet with these people. In the Heaven Vault, the experts all arrived before Qin Wentian. Many of them were world overlords. When they saw Qin Wentian, all of them bowed. We pay our respects to heavenly deity Qin. Although Qin Wentian was famous, he didn't have a title yet. Everyone referred to him as heavenly deity Qin. Qin Wentian nodded calmly. He stared at the people before him. What's the matter? Heavenly deity Qin, we are all powers from Boundless City of the Heaven region. A hegemonic level world overlord walked out and spoke to Qin Wentian. Boundless City has always been a place of freedom. No one has truly ruled over it before. Right now, the Heaven Vault is located in the Boundless Sea region of Boundless City. Can we request Heavenly Deity Qin to govern Boundless City? In addition, you can make the surrounding regions of Boundless City part of the Heaven Vault. In that case, it would be much more convenient for Heavenly Deity Qin to do things in the future. As the sound of his voice faded, many gazes turned to Qin Wentian, filled with anticipation. After the news of the Qin clan circulated out, the entire Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms was discussing about Qin Wentian. The peak powers of Boundless City were naturally no exception. From their point of view, Boundless City was about to welcome a glorious opportunity. The prerequisite was that they had to be able to make Qin Wentian stay behind. Qin City, why could it be so glorious, becoming a peak city in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms? It was because the Qin clan was located there. In that case, the Heaven Vault that Qin Wentian represented today was already so strong that it wasn't in any way inferior to the Qin clan. In the future, it would only grow even stronger. In that case, why couldn't their Boundless City seize this opportunity and allow Qin Wentian to govern it? In fact, they even hoped that Qin Wentian would expand his territory. You should know that although I'm in control of the Heaven Vault, there are many powers in the Heaven Vault that don't belong to me. The Luotian clan, Qianquan sect, Nine Heavens Mystical Palace and the others are all major powers in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. Qin Wentian laughed. So what of it? Given deity Qin's strength, in addition to the foundation of the Heaven Vault and so many friends, as long as deity Qin makes a call for help, the Heaven Vault that deity Qin represents would instantly become the fourth hegemonic power in the Heaven region. The major powers spoke. Their purpose was to convince Qin Wentian to establish the Heaven Vault and govern Boundless City, contending for supremacy in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. By doing so, their Boundless City would have more and more opportunities. In fact, they might even have a chance to become Qin Wentian's subordinates. In that case, they would have a chance to do something that many peak powers in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms couldn't. That was to enter the Heaven Vault to cultivate. I'll consider your words. Qin Wentian calmly smiled, understanding the intentions of everyone. After that he waved his hand. Everyone, you guys can leave for now. Yes, we will take our leave. Those people calmly retreated before turning and departing. Although they came in such a grandiose manner, in truth, they only said a few sentences. These people represented their attitude, indicating that the various hegemonic powers in the Heaven region supported them. As for what they said, it wasn't that important. Could it be that they wanted a heavenly deity to chat with them? Clearly it was impossible. Everyone left the Heaven Vault. However, a look of contemplation appeared on Qin Wentian's face. He couldn't help but admit that he did have some thoughts about this suggestion. He couldn't be limited to the Heaven Vault forever. Chapter 1930. In the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms, after the Qin clan's heavenly deity level battle, peace seemed to have returned. The various hegemonic powers all quietened down, no longer looking for trouble with the Heaven Vault. The Qin clan that was heavily injured in that battle also became exceptionally quiet. The Qin clan was already in the midst of reconstruction, and was still standing tall in Qin City. However, the prestige of the Qin clan was no longer the same as before. In the starry space of the Heaven Vault, many starry castles also appeared. Right now more and more people entered the Heaven Vault for cultivation. Qin Wentian's subordinates, the Luotian clan, the experts from the Demon God Mountain, the Qiankuan sect, the Nine Heavens Mystical Palace, etc. These powers all formed their own factions and naturally had their own footholds in the Heaven Vault. Hence, as time flowed by, numerous starry castles appeared in the Heaven Vault. They were exceptionally beautiful, and were like divine palaces that stood tall in the boundless starry space, becoming the homes of the various powers in the Heaven Vault. Qin Wentian naturally also had a starry castle. The one he stayed in was located in the central region, and was extremely large. In the surroundings, there were many starry castles that belonged to the experts from the various factions he brought over. For example, the Battle Saint Tribe, Namhuang Clan Evergreen Kingdom, Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, Myriad Devil Islands, and many others. Each faction had their own castle. Qin Wentian's castle was somewhat similar to the Heaven Empyrean Palace. The environment here was very beautiful and he decorated it like the Heaven Empyrean Palace, treating this place as his home. This way, Qingqing and the others would also be more accustomed to it. At this moment, in the cultivation platform of Qin Wentian's castle, this place was located in the 9 heavenly layers, and one could sense the power of the constellations at a close distance. Beams of astral light cascaded down, enveloping everyone on the platform. Up ahead, Qing'er, Princess Kitamura, Junmingchen, the Southern Phoenix Matriarch and the others were all here. They sat cross-legged and quietly sensed their surroundings. For the Tao of heavenly deities, astral souls can contain the Tao. You guys have all ascended to a constellation before, and should understand that constellations aren't just a single type of energy. Different constellations contain different heavenly Tao arts. This means that after we condense our astral souls, the energy we absorb is the simplest type of energy. You guys have to transform your astral souls into Tao arts. Qin Wentian sat before everyone and slowly spoke, lecturing the Tao to them. Right now, his cultivation base was extremely high. When he had the time, he would lecture the Tao in the 9 heavenly layers of the 9 heavenly layers, allowing his people to comprehend the Tao while at the same time. The laws of the heavenly Taos have to surpass your previous understanding. Hence, if you guys want to comprehend the Tao, other than using your past comprehensions, you have to cast aside your past limitations. Don't be controlled by the law energy you're proficient in. In the past, the heavenly Taos we know are purely a Tao formed from the fusion of law attributes. That by itself is a mistake. The heavenly Taos are a type of comprehension that depends on the law attributes you're proficient in, but is also superior to them. Qin Wentian's voice was calm, as though it contained a magical power. It was ethereal and penetrating through the eardrums of everyone and entering their minds. Everyone who listened to his Tao lecture would have different insights. Compared to the teachings of the other heavenly deities in their minds, there were some parts that were similar, but there were also some parts that were different. All of these had to be comprehended by themselves. After a long time, everyone gradually sank into their own comprehensions. Mo Qingqing silently opened her beautiful eyes and winked mischievously at Qin Wentian. It has been a few hundred years. With Qin Wentian's help, although she has also broken through to the World Overlord realm, there was still a huge disparity between her and the others. It was still somewhat difficult for her to comprehend the heavenly Taos now. Quietly standing up, Mo Qingqing walked to the side of Qin Wentian. The two of them exchanged a glance before they silently departed from this place. Qingqing, how do you feel? After returning to the courtyard of Qin Wentian's palace, Qin Wentian smiled as he asked. Cultivation is so difficult. Mo Qingqing hugged Qin Wentian's arm. She inclined her head slightly and stared at Qin Wentian's face, as a gentle smile could be seen in her eyes. I wonder how long it would take for me to reach your level. You don't have to feel any pressure. With me around, everything will be fine. Qin Wentian gently spoke. Mo Qingqing smiled and nodded. It's just that the pressure on you is too great. You have to bear everything by yourself. We have no way to share the burden with you. Am I not qualified as your wife? Yep, very unqualified. In that case, shouldn't you compensate me well? Qin Wentian joked, staring at Mo Qingqing with a naughty look on his face. His words caused Mo Qingqing to start. After that, She pinched Qin Wentian harshly, but she felt a faint warmth in her heart. She inclined her head and stared at the starry sky. This starry sky is so beautiful. Tell me, do you think our past can be found in these countless constellations? Maybe. Qin Wentian replied. How many years has it been? Wentian, we have actually been together for a few hundred years. Why do I feel as though the memories of our acquaintance are still fresh in my mind? Mo Qingqing's gaze was incomparably gentle. Under the starlight, she was so beautiful. A warm smile could be seen in her beautiful eyes, as though she was recalling everything that happened during these years. Qin Wentian sat down and pulled Mo Qingqing into his embrace. He gently spoke. Are you reminiscing about the past again? Are you not happy now? How can that be? Memories are always beautiful. Mo Qingqing shook her head lightly. However, compared to the present, I still prefer the past. Although there were also worries and worries back then. Now that I recall them, they are all beautiful memories. The you at that time was truly very silly. Silly? Qin Wentian was speechless. To them, the past was truly like the blue seas turning into mulberry fields. Everything back then was simply too far away. Aren't you silly? Do you still remember the Pill Emperor Hall? How did you manage to drag that gigantic sword over? Mo Qingqing laughed, recalling the past. Sometimes, she felt that she should thank those people who had ill intentions towards her. If it wasn't for the existence of those people, how could there be such beautiful memories? You can still laugh? Qin Wentian rolled his eyes at Mo Qingqing. This lass, had she forgotten how much despair he felt back then? Mo Qingqing's smile grew even more radiant. Her hands hooked onto Qin Wentian's neck as she stared at him in a silly manner. She then softly whispered, Dumbo. Staring at the beauty in front of him, Qin Wentian lowered his head and planted a kiss on Mo Qingqing's rosy lips, causing the smile on Mo Qingqing's face to freeze. However, at this moment, Qin Wentian inclined his head and laughed. Last Qing, or you are still peeking. A silhouette slowly walked over. It was none other than Qing. She blinked her beautiful eyes, looking exceptionally adorable. Sister Qing, or do you think he was silly in the past? Mo Qingqing smiled as she asked. Qing didn't hesitate and seriously nodded her head. This is called great intelligence may appear foolish. If not, how would he be able to hug a beauty? Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he instantly pulled Qing into his embrace. However, he didn't have any romantic thoughts. He only wanted to hug the woman he loved. Qing quietly leaned against him. She didn't speak much, but her words always made people feel warmth. Silly lass, you guys are just reminiscing about the past, right? Qin Wentian sighed lightly. Let me bring you guys back to our particle world for a walk. Let us see the path we once walked together. When Mo Qingqing heard Qin Wentian's words, she inclined her head as her beautiful eyes flashed. Qin Wentian smiled. He didn't explain and brought his two wives along as their silhouettes flashed, directly vanishing from this location. Given his current cultivation base, where in this world couldn't he go? Qingqing missed the past, Qing missed the past as well. In that case he might as well make a trip there. There were countless particle worlds around the azure mystic immortal realms. However, the particle world Qin Wentian grew up in was only a single one. Today in the particle world in the Chu country of the Grand Xia dynasty, snowflakes drifted down from the sky, illuminating the entire country. It was an extremely beautiful sight. Outside there were many people playing. Young couples were fooling around in the snow, carefree and carefree, filled with laughter and laughter. At this moment, in a certain location within the Chu country, the snowflakes were falling unceasingly. In the air, there were actually 3 silhouettes descending together with the snowflakes. These 3 figures were none other than Qin Wentian and his 2 wives. How beautiful! Mo Qingqing's body spun lightly in the air. She stretched out her hand, allowing the snowflakes to land on her palm. The smile in her eyes was so pure and flawless. This snow was truly beautiful. How beautiful! At this moment, below, the people frolicking in the snow all exclaimed in admiration when they saw the 3 figures descending. These 2 maidens were simply so beautiful that they were otherworldly. Are they fairies? Someone asked in a light voice. They should be. The fairies in their eyes slowly landed on the ground. They closed their eyes as a look of infatuation appeared on their faces. It was like they were thinking back to the snowfall a few hundred years ago. Their budding love started from that moment. Wentian, let's build a snowman. Mo Qingqing pulled Qin Wentian's hand as she mischievously spoke. It was like she had returned to the time when she was young and innocent. Okay. Qin Wentian nodded. He actually really built a snowman together with Mo Qingqing. If the people of the supreme ancient immortal realms knew that the heavenly deity Qin Wentian, who defeated Heaven's Son, Qin Dangtian, was building a snowman in a particle world, what expressions would they have? Very swiftly, a snowman that resembled Qin Wentian was formed. Mo Qingqing stared at the snowman as she giggled. Sister Qing. Or do you think this looks like him? Qing'er seriously stared at it. After that, she smiled and nodded. A little. MHM. Mo Qingqing nodded. After that, she pulled Qin Wentian's hand and walked to Qing'er's side. She then let Qin Wentian's other hand hold on to Qing'er's as she smiled. Let's take a walk around Chu and take a good look at this place, okay? MHM. Qin Wentian nodded again. As long as they were happy, it was the most beautiful thing to him. Let's go. Mo Qingqing pulled Qin Wentian as they jogged forward. She didn't use any of her strength and simply strolled through the snow together. The people in the surroundings didn't disturb them, they only quietly watched. These were fairies from the heavens, coming down to the mortal world to fall in love. Snowflakes continued drifting down. As they walked, the three of them were clad in silver robes. As they walked, the hair of the three of them turned white. Amidst the snowflakes, a bell-like laughter rang out. It was so ethereal and beautiful. Chapter 1931. Snowflakes danced in the air. Qin Wentian and the others walked step by step until they arrived at an ancient mountain peak. This ancient mountain peak was completely covered in snow, and Qin Wentian and the others had transformed into snowmen. Standing on the ancient mountain peak and staring at the back cliff, a faint smile could be seen on Qing'er's cold countenance. Back then, she had once stood here and watched as Qin Wentian cultivated. In the blink of an eye, so many years had passed. That stubborn young man had already become a heavenly deity. After a long time, they departed. Amidst the snow, they went to the old royal palace of Chu, to the demonic beast forest. These were the places where they once left their footprints. They didn't startle anyone, and simply continued on their way. After leaving Chu, they made a trip to the place where fairy Qing Mei and Qing'er once resided. After that, they headed to the Pill Emperor Hall. Right now, the Pill Emperor Hall was already occupied by a different power. When they saw the three silhouettes in the air, many people were stunned. The auras of the three of them were too outstanding, causing them to involuntarily feel a sense of reverence in their hearts. Returning to an old place, the blue seas have already turned into mulberry fields. Things remain the same, but the people have changed. Qin Wentian spoke in a light voice. His state of heart was already as calm as ever. Time could change everything. He himself couldn't even remember how many years it has been since he came to this particle world. Once, he hated this particle world so much. But now, his heart was as calm as still water, incomparably tranquil. Mo Qingqing was similarly calm. In fact, she would occasionally think of those people back then. After staying for a moment, Qin Wentian pulled the two maidens and departed. And in the Pill Emperor Hall, an old man was trembling. He wanted to say something, yet he wasn't able to say anything. He recognized the young man and woman. He had met them once before. At that time he was still a young man. Now he was already old, but the two of them were still as young as ever. Not only that, they were many times more outstanding compared to the past. Qin Wentian was already a legend in this particle world. People from a few hundred years ago would naturally be able to recognize him. However, the particle world couldn't be compared to the supreme ancient immortal realms. A few hundred years was already considered a very long time. Yi Country, Battle Sword Sect, Medicine Sovereign Valley, Royal Sacred Region, Sword Reverence City. Qin Wentian brought the two maidens along as they traveled through these places, reminiscing about the past. Before they departed, Qin Wentian released the seal on his particle world, no longer placing any restrictions on it. For those who were trapped in his particle world, he wouldn't obstruct them if they wished to leave. When Qin Wentian left, a formless energy fluctuation permeated the entire particle world. At that instant, countless people inclined their heads and stared at the sky. The immortals who had been trapped here all this while were trembling uncontrollably. Has he returned? Why was he so silent? At this moment, an incomparably resplendent beam of light radiated outwards. A gigantic silhouette directly descended from the sky, moving towards a certain location in this particle world. After which, he transformed into a statue and landed in the location where Chu was located. When they saw the gigantic statue descending from the sky, countless people trembled. Many old men with powerful cultivation bases recognized the owner of this statue. It's him, he has returned. The particle world trembled as countless people rushed towards the location where the gigantic statue landed. In the direction of Chu, countless experts gathered in Chu, including even immortals. They all came to the same location and stared at the towering statue before them. This statue seemed to be alive, and many people actually gained some insights in their hearts. They immediately returned to their rooms to cultivate. There were also some who directly sat down cross-legged and directly started their cultivation, disregarding the current situation. Even immortals felt their souls trembling. They stared at this statue as their bodies trembled. They knew that in a short period of time, they wouldn't be able to leave this particle world. This statue contained Tao Might, the charm of the heavenly Tao. From this, one could very well imagine what sort of changes it would bring to this particle world. In addition, it wasn't just a statue. It was formed from the will of Qin Wentian's divine sense. It would become a supreme treasure of this particle world, a guardian deity. As long as his original body didn't die, it would be able to protect this particle world for all eternity. Hence, the legend that had been suppressed for hundreds of years once again circulated through this particle world. Everyone was talking about the legendary past of Qin Wentian. There were people who said that Qin Wentian had already become a major character in the immortal realms of the upper world, and had reached an extreme realm. It was possible that he was already standing at the peak of the immortal emperor realm. There were also people who guessed that maybe he had already established a supreme power in the upper world, but he still missed his homeland. Hence, this statue appeared. For those who had interacted with Qin Wentian before, they were all speechless when they saw this statue. Qin Wentian had already walked further and further away, so far away that people of the world could only look up to him in admiration. This statue became a place of faith for the entire particle world. From today onwards, there would be people coming here every day to pay their respects. This was the god that the particle world worshipped. All of this seemed to have nothing to do with Qin Wentian. This time around, he brought Qingqing and Qing back to this particle world, walking the path that he had walked before. In the future, it was very rare for him to come here again. Maybe one day when he stood at the peak of the supreme ancient immortal realms, he might come back here to take a look. The supreme ancient immortal realms were still very calm, so calm that it was a little excessive. Back then, the Qin clan caused such a terrifying storm. After that, many people felt that an even greater storm would descend. Clearly, they didn't expect things to be like this. Maybe, because the strength of the two clans had reached a strange equilibrium, no one had the confidence to topple the other. Hence, everyone was silently accumulating their strength, waiting to erupt. Time flowed by unknowingly. The once powerful Qin clan in the heaven region became extremely low profile. There was no news, no one knew what the people of the Qin clan were busy with. No one knew what Qin Zheng and Heaven's son Qin Dangtian were doing. However, everyone in the world knew that in the Boundless Sea region, a divine palace had appeared beneath the heaven vault. This divine palace was constructed in the middle of the sea. It was boundlessly vast and incomparably majestic. At the highest point of the divine palace, it seemed to be connected to the heavens, becoming one with the heaven vault. Anyone who saw the divine palace of the sea region would involuntarily praise its uncanny workmanship. If one stood within the divine palace, they would feel that this was a majestic city on land. They basically wouldn't imagine that this majestic city was located in the middle of the sea region. Also, everything hasn't ended yet. After the divine palace appeared, it continued expanding outwards, as though it wanted to cover the entire boundless sea region. Everyone in the supreme ancient immortal realm started to guess why this divine palace was constructed. But no matter what the reason was, something was definitely going to happen in the heaven region. If not, why would the people of the heaven vault need to construct such a majestic castle outside? Just when everyone thought that the construction of this divine palace was about to end, another divine palace began to be constructed in the boundless sea region. After that, a third divine palace was constructed. These divine palaces were separated from each other by the seawater, resembling majestic cities on the sea. There was a total of 9 majestic cities, all of them towering above the sea region. Right now, this place no longer resembled a divine city. It was more like a divine kingdom. A divine kingdom formed by 9 divine cities. Everyone in the world started to guess what Qin Wentian wanted to do exactly. Out of the 9 divine cities, the divine city in the center was located at the bottom of the heaven vault. There was a divine palace there that directly connected to the sky, like it was connected to the entrance of the heaven vault. All 9 divine cities had teleportation arrays that connected them to the divine palace in the heaven vault. It wasn't located in the center of the divine cities, it was at the periphery instead. The heaven vault was no longer closed, it was just open there. However, the entrance to the heaven vault has long been surrounded by the divine kingdom. The boundless sea region was the territory of the divine kingdom. Under the current situation, who would dare to step in easily? When the divine kingdom was completed, countless people stood at the periphery of the boundless sea region. They could actually see the majestic divine kingdom with a single glance. It was like a mirage, so majestic, so mesmerizing. Today, a voice finally rang out from the mysterious divine kingdom. From today onwards, a divine sect will be established in the boundless sea region. It will be named the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. The Qiankuan sect, 9 Heavens Mystical Palace, Demon God Mountain, and Luotian clan will all serve the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. They will reside in the divine cities around the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, and can freely enter and exit the heaven vault. This voice rang through space, drifting over to the periphery of the boundless sea region. Qin Wentian announced that the 4th hegemonic power of the heaven region would be established, the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. It was like he wanted to fight against the Qin clan. In addition, the other 2 hegemonic powers of the heaven region, the Qiankuan sect and 9 Heavens Mystical Palace, would form an alliance with the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, serving the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. The situation in the heaven region would change. With the alliance of the 3 hegemonic powers, the Qin clan would find it extremely difficult to advance. Qin Wentian's voice spread through the supreme ancient immortal realms at the fastest speed. With regards to Qin Wentian's threat, another huge wave of discussion arose. Many people felt that Qin Wentian would become a calamity for the supreme ancient immortal realms. With the establishment of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, in the future, it would devour the other hegemonic powers of the supreme ancient immortal realm step by step. Naturally, in the surroundings of the boundless sea region, countless powers came to congratulate him. They expressed their willingness to submit to the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, serving the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect as their sect leader, allowing the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect to govern a large portion of the heaven region. Qin Wentian naturally understood their intentions. All of them wanted to enter the heaven vault for cultivation. However, he still agreed to their requests. With Boundless City as the center, the influence of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect began to expand, preparing to devour the territories controlled by the other 3 hegemonic powers. Many experts from the Tiandao Sacred Academy came to congratulate him. His senior brother Shen Yin came as well as the 3 other heavenly deities. Qin Wentian naturally welcomed them warmly, allowing the core members of the Tiandao Sacred Academy to enter the heaven vault freely for cultivation. Leaving aside the karma of him cultivating in the Tiandao Sacred Academy, just the fact that the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy helped him, he naturally had to repay him. Tiandao Sacred Academy was like his home. Chapter 1932. The Qin Heavenly Divine Sect stood in the boundless sea region, resembling a divine empire. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, countless experts rushed over from all directions. Some came to spectate, some came to offer their congratulations. Today, Qin Wentian allowed everyone to enter the divine sect to offer their congratulations. Hence, countless people stepped on the waves and arrived at the center of the boundless sea region. When they stared at the divine empire before them, their hearts involuntarily trembled. With respect in their hearts, everyone came to the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. Many of them were experts from major and minor powers in the Heaven region. They felt that the situation in the Heaven region has changed. In the future, the Qin clan might continue to be weakened. On the contrary, the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect would replace them one day. This would be the change of an era. In addition to Qin Wentian's legendary past, many people wanted to see this legendary character. This was especially so for the younger generations. They have long since viewed Qin Wentian as their idol, and were filled with incomparable reverence. His inspiring stories inspired countless cultivators. Qin Wentian came from a particle world, and was able to cultivate all the way to the peak, defeating Heaven's Sun. Although their backgrounds weren't at the peak, they grew up in the supreme ancient immortal realms, and had plenty of cultivation resources. Why couldn't they pursue the heavenly deity path? The interior of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect was extremely lively. Right now, Qin Wentian's family and friends have all been brought over. This divine city in the center was specially built for them. If they wanted to enter the Heaven Vault for cultivation, they could do so at any time. Right now, he already had some confidence. There was no need for him to hide in the Heaven Vault forever, unable to see the outside world. That wouldn't be a normal life. Hence, he accepted the suggestion of many major powers in the Heaven region, and established the Divine Sect, naming it the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. In addition, even if there were any major changes, they could enter the Heaven Vault at the first instant. The Heaven Vault was their backing. Watching the Divine Sect being built bit by bit, it's simply a miracle. The Skyorder Heavenly Deity stared ahead. Countless people came to offer their congratulations. A relaxed smile could be seen on his face. The him now looked even younger compared to the first time Qin Wentian met him. Clearly, he had been nurturing his health well. Qin Wentian was able to have such accomplishments, and even defeated Qin Dangtian in the deity-level battle of the Qin clan. Qin Wentian felt incomparably gratified. If he could see his younger sister again, that would be even more perfect. Let's hope that such a day would come. Father, big brother is making history. Luo Shenlei stood beside him. Her beautiful eyes were filled with a smile. She still remembered the complicated emotions she felt after she guessed Qin Wentian's identity during the convention. She watched as Qin Wentian walked step by step until today. This was simply a legendary piece of history. She didn't know if there was anyone in the past who had accomplished this before. Indeed, we are creating history. Luo Shenyu nodded. In addition, history will continue to be written. I'm going to help my brother receive the guests. Luo Shenlei smiled. Luo Shenyu nodded. Luo Shenlei then walked towards the crowd. Today, many people came, and many of them were from major powers in the supreme ancient immortal realms. Naturally, there weren't many people who were qualified for Qin Wentian to receive them personally. Hence, the majority of the time, it was others who received the guests. Luo Shenlei was the young miss of the Luoshan clan, Qin Wentian's younger sister. Her status in receiving the guests was already sufficient. Old Qin, have you ever thought that there would be such a day? In another direction, a few people were chatting. In the past, I only wanted to live a good life in Sky Harmony City. How would I have thought so far ahead? Particle worlds, Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms, it's like a dream. Qin Chuan shook his head. Haha, you have a good son. Just be happy. Back then, your Mo clan didn't really like our Wentian. Qin Chuan laughed. Naturally, he was speaking in a joking tone. These past events had long passed. Even if they were brought up occasionally, it would only be a joke. Yes. However, our Qingqing's judgment is really good. That last Qingqing truly doesn't have it easy. Qin Chuan sighed. That's right. Back then in the royal palace of Yi country, Qingqing lost her memories, yet she could still recognize Wentian. Her feelings for him are extremely deep. Yi Qingyan walked over and spoke. The elders of Qin Wentian were all sighing together. Not far away from them, a few beautiful maidens stood together. These were his senior apprentice sisters Luo Huan, his elder sister Qin Yao and Yi Lingshuang. They stood together and stared at the grand scene before them. Luo Huan suddenly started laughing in a silly manner. Qin Yao stared at her with a strange look in her eyes. Are you all right? I'm fine. I'm just thinking about some beautiful things. Luo Huan was still smiling. What are you thinking about? Why are you so happy? Yi Lingshuang curiously asked. I'm thinking that since my Wentian is already so powerful now, as his senior apprentice sister, should I ask him to gift me an immortal empire, and let me be the queen of it? Luo Huan laughed. Qin Yao rolled her eyes. Useless. Why? Even a queen doesn't fancy you? Seems like your appetite is getting bigger. You are Wentian's senior apprentice sister. You don't know what Wentian is like in front of you. Look at these people. Even heavenly deities have to pay their respects to Wentian. Think about it. What status do you have? Just an immortal empire is enough to make you so beautiful. Qin Yao teased. Given Qin Wentian's current status, an immortal empire was truly nothing worth mentioning. Luo Huan seriously nodded her head. That makes sense. Why don't I just marry him? Wouldn't that be letting that brat off too easily? Qin Yao had a face filled with black lines as she speechlessly stared at Luo Huan. Luo Huan started giggling again, her beautiful eyes staring into the distance, as though she was thinking back to that year when she entered Sky Harmony City with the people of the Emperor Star Academy to rescue that stubborn young man. Now that she thought about it, it felt like a few centuries had passed. That stubborn young man was now a major character at the peak of the 33 immortal realms. Not far away from them, there was a group of beauties. They were all from the Namhuang clan. The Southern Phoenix matriarch, Namfeng Yaoyue, was now a hegemonic-level world overlord. Her aura was even more majestic than before, exuding boundless magnificence. Beside her, there was Namhuang Yunqi and Namfeng Xingge. All of them were peak-level beauties, and when they stood together, it was extremely pleasing to the eyes, causing those who came to take a few more glances at them. However, no one dared to have any strange thoughts. The people of this divine city were all related to Qin Wentian. How could they be simple? How could they be coveted by others? There are so many experts here. Namfeng Xingge mumbled. That's only natural. Wentian allowed the people of the world to enter the divine city. Given his current strength and status, how could there not be many people here? Namfeng Yaoyue smiled. He has already reached such a height. Back then I even played a song for him. I wonder if he would still listen to it in the future. If he knew this would happen, why would the Namhuang clan set the rule that their holy maidens can't marry outsiders? If not, Yunqi might have already married him. Namfeng Xingge smiled. Her beauty was like a painting, transcendent and transcendent. Namhuang Yunqi's beautiful eyes flashed. She glared at Namfeng Xingge. You are talking about yourself, right? Who wouldn't know your thoughts? But now, I'm afraid you don't have any more chances. Right now, the number of beauties wanting to marry him can probably reach all the way to Boundless City. Namfeng Xingge mischievously winked. Namhuang Yunqi's beautiful eyes stared at her. You are included as well, right? The Southern Phoenix matriarch watched as the two juniors teased each other. A faint smile could be seen in her beautiful eyes. The reason why the Namhuang clan could have their current status today was all because of the friendship between Namhuang Yunqi and Qin Wentian back then. This should be fate. Sadly, although she was interested in Qin Wentian, she most probably wouldn't have any more chances to marry Qin Wentian. Sometimes a missed opportunity was a missed opportunity. Back then, although they were still good friends, that kind of feeling would never exist again. Bai Wuya and the Emperor Qianbian were also sighing with emotion. Today they were also in this city, among the crowd. There was no need to mention the relationship between Bai Wuya and Qin Wentian. It was him who brought Qin Wentian to Azure Mystic, becoming both a teacher and a friend. The Emperor Qianbian was also like an elder to Qin Wentian. Although there was some estrangement because of the incident in the heavenly talisman realm, the Emperor Qianbian had no choice but to do so. Qin Wentian naturally wouldn't blame him. Everything was already in the past. Now he only hoped that his old friends would be able to live well. He also hoped that all his relatives and elders would be able to live well. At this moment, the gazes of countless people turned to the same direction. On the stairway, there was a divine throne. Qin Wentian's figure appeared there. Beside him, there were two supreme beauties who appeared together with him. They were none other than Qing'er and Qingcheng. The Qiankuan sect leader and Nine Heavens mystical maiden also appeared together with Qin Wentian. They stood beside the divine throne. Today, Qin Wentian was the main character. They were willing to be the supporting characters. In the Heaven Vault, they once had a conversation about what would happen if Qin Wentian ascended to the peak. Now, they were naturally willing to maintain a good relationship with Qin Wentian. Even if one day, Qin Wentian ascended to the peak, given his attitude towards his friends, he would definitely not mistreat them. Uncle Qin. A sweet voice rang out. A beautiful little girl ran out from the crowd. Qin, come back. A beautiful maiden called out. However, the little girl didn't stop. She ran towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian squatted down and carried the little girl up. He nodded to the beautiful maiden who ran over. That maiden bitterly smiled and glared at the little girl. Uncle Qin, why did mother stop me from coming over? The little girl innocently asked. Her voice was tender and sweet. Your mother must be afraid that you are too close to your Uncle Qin, and would no longer be close to her. Qin Wentian gently smiled. That won't happen. Father, mother and Uncle Qin are all the same. The little girl smiled. Qin is so obedient. Qin Wentian rubbed the little girl's head and carried her as they sat on the divine throne. Below, countless people stared at this scene, feeling incomparably envious of the little girl. Which clan did this little girl belong to exactly? She was able to be so close to heavenly deity Qin. This was already enough to determine that her birth was extraordinary. This lass, you don't even care about her. Even in such a situation, she is still pestering Wentian. Jiang Ting glanced at Ouyang Guangxing who was beside her. Just let her be, Wentian wouldn't mind. Ouyang Guangxing laughed carefreely. Jiang Ting nodded lightly, feeling warmth in her heart. Fatty who was at the side rubbed the belly of a beautiful maiden beside him when he saw this scene. Child, come out soon. Seems like you have to fight for Qin Wentian's favor in the future. That last Qin calls him uncle. You have to call him godfather in the future. Xian Xian ruthlessly glared at Fatty. Ouyang Guangxing and Jiang Ting who were at the side also had black lines on their faces. This damnable Fatty. Chapter 1933. Qin Wentian sat on the divine throne, hugging Ouyang Qin. A snow-white figure leaped onto his shoulder. There are so many people here. Don't you like to join in the fun? Where's Purgatory? Qin Wentian asked. She's with elder sister Qinyu. Little rascal spoke. Qin Wentian nodded his head lightly. His divine sense swept out and after that, he turned his head and stared in a certain direction. There were three beauties there. They were none other than Yi Qinyu, Purgatory and Jialan Qiuyue. Yi Qinyu winked at Qin Wentian, exuding a hint of gentleness. Qin Wentian smiled and shook his head, this female vixen. Why don't you go over? Jialan Qiuyue stood beside Yi Qinyu and asked in a light voice. Qingqing and Qing'er have known him since they were young. They have known each other for many years, going through trials and tribulations together. Women should know when to take a step back. Yi Qinyu smiled. The two of them were together. As long as Qin Wentian loved her, it was already enough. She also knew how important Qingqing and Qing'er were in Qin Wentian's heart. If she fought for everything, it would only produce the opposite effect. You are truly an intelligent woman. Jialan Qiuyue spoke in a light voice. So you have to think this through clearly. How much do you like him? You should understand how many beauties surround him. In addition to his current status, how difficult would it be if you want to be his woman again? Also, even if he really accepts you one day, how much would you have to endure? Can you really endure it? Yi Qinyu's beautiful eyes turned to Jialan Qiuyue. Jialan Qiuyue's eyes flashed with stubbornness as she nodded. Naturally. However, her heart also wavered. She naturally saw how many beauties were surrounding Qin Wentian. Just beside her and Yi Qianyu, there was a woman with a fiery figure and a hint of seductiveness. Also, it was said that there were many beauties that Qin Wentian was acquainted with since a long time ago. They had even gone through thick and thin together. As for her, what was she? Yi Qianyu smiled at her. Her eyes seemed to be able to see through her thoughts. She spoke in a light voice. For women, love is the hardest. I wish you good luck. In truth, she didn't look favorably on Jialan Qiuyue, but she was still willing to bring her along, giving her a sliver of a chance. Back then, she had feelings for Qin Wentian. At that time, Qin Wentian only displayed his talent and wasn't a major character. She was imprisoned for many years because of him. It was precisely because of this that they were able to be together. This was her bold pursuit. In truth, she understood in her heart that when she was sacrificing, there was another beautiful woman who was sacrificing as well. The weight of this beautiful woman in Qin Wentian's heart might not be lower than hers. That beautiful woman was none other than Princess Kitamura. However, Princess Kitamura's personality was cold. Although she had feelings for Jialan Qiuyue, she wouldn't take the initiative to speak about it. Hence, they weren't able to be together. It was like as long as Jialan Qiuyue was by her side, she wouldn't have any complaints. Everyone had a different attitude toward love. Jialan Qiuyue's attitude toward love was like a blazing flame that could ignite others. Princess Kitamura's attitude was the exact opposite. Naturally, Yi Qianyu understood that in Qin Wentian's heart, there were two women whose positions no one could surpass. Hence, many times, she would take a step back and never compete with them. She would also treat them with sincerity, like sisters. Since she chose such a man, she naturally knew how to sacrifice. Qingqing and Qing's personalities were both very indifferent. In their hearts, there was only Qin Wentian. As for the matters of the harem, it was fine for her to handle them. She wouldn't allow Qin Wentian to have any worries. She also couldn't bear to do so. Although right now, he was sitting on the divine throne with tens of thousands of people worshipping him, appearing incomparably glorious, she understood how many burdens he had on his shoulders. He mustn't take a single wrong step. The lively crowd was his family, and all of this required him to protect them. The pressure on his body was as heavy as a mountain. Qin Wentian naturally wouldn't understand what Yi Qianyu was thinking about right now. But he knew that she would take a step back. She would sacrifice herself. She was such an intelligent woman, and he also knew her love. She knew how to love. We pay our respects to sect leader Qin. Before the divine throne, it was unknown how many people came. All of them bowed to Qin Wentian. It's my honor that everyone could come here. Right now, I'm establishing the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect in the Boundless Sea region. I hereby declare that I will never annex any hegemonic powers in the Heaven region. As long as the people of the world don't act against me, I won't act against anyone in the world. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. There were many hegemonic powers in the Heaven region who came. Some wanted to submit to him, some wanted to enter the Heaven Vault for cultivation. Naturally, there were also some who were worried that he would start a war and annex the hegemonic powers. Hence, Qin Wentian's words caused many people to feel more at ease. Given sect leader Qin's cultivation base and vision, we naturally believe that the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect wouldn't be interested in the ordinary hegemonic powers of the Heaven region. We aren't worried about this point. On the contrary, I hope to join the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect and become a part of it. Someone directly spoke. Also, this person was a hegemonic level world overlord. I'm an unaffiliated cultivator, but I'm also willing to join the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect and become a part of it, serving sect leader Qin. Another person spoke. After that, more and more people expressed their intentions, wanting to submit to the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect or join it. At their level, what did they pursue? Without a doubt, it was the deity realm. As for submitting to a major power, this was very common and wasn't a loss of face. Only by becoming a heavenly deity would the individual, clan or power be able to have a new future. The Heaven Vault was rumored to be connected to the 9 heavenly layers. It was a secret realm for cultivation on a constellation. This was their opportunity. Qin Wentian calmly watched everything. He also understood the thoughts of everyone. I'll be direct then. Only core members of my divine sect and allied powers can enter the Heaven Vault for cultivation. Since everyone wants to join the divine sect, it's naturally because of the Heaven Vault. However, I don't know much about you guys, and you guys haven't contributed anything to the divine sect before. It's impossible for you all to enter the Heaven Vault. Qin Wentian's words caused many people to feel disappointed. But in truth, they understood this point in their hearts. Qin Wentian knew nothing about them. How could he allow them to cultivate in the Heaven Vault so easily? Who knew if they had connections with other hegemonic powers or not? Naturally, since I'm the founder of the divine sect, it's impossible for me to reject everyone. I'm naturally willing to accept disciples. Right now, there are a few factions in my divine sect, each occupying a divine city. If everyone wishes to join the divine sect, you have to start from these factions and pass the assessment. After you join, you have to contribute to the divine sect and become a core disciple of each faction before you can enter the Heaven Vault for cultivation. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. He naturally hoped for the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect to grow stronger, but he wouldn't casually accept disciples. Just like what Yi Qinyu thought, in truth, the pressure on him was extremely great. Although the Qin clan was at peace for many years after the deity-level battle, he knew that the gazes of everyone in the supreme ancient immortal realms were still fixed on him. He had no choice but to continue advancing and strengthen himself to deal with any dangers he might encounter in the future. It was precisely because of the existence of such a threat that he was very quiet during these years, and didn't take the initiative to create trouble. Both sides seemed to have reached a delicate balance, but he understood that there would be a day when this balance would be broken. The powers in the Heaven Vault were very strong. There were the Qiankuan sect, 9 Heavens Mystical Palace, Luotian clan and Demon God Mountain. However, it was true that the Qiankuan sect, 9 Heavens Mystical Palace and Demon God Mountain were allies. But if they encountered a true crisis, they would most probably abandon the Heaven Vault and flee. Allies meant cooperation. It wasn't realistic to want others to entrust the fate of their sect to him. Ultimately, he still had to rely on himself. Hence, he established the divine sect. Any power needed time to grow stronger. However, since he controlled the Heaven Vault, he could shorten the time needed. He believed that sooner or later, a batch of heavenly deities would be born in the Heaven Vault. Naturally, Qin Wentian has also communicated with the Namhuang clan, the Dark North Immortal Emperor and GD before. The foundations of these powers were still too weak. Although he would do his best to nurture them, if they wanted to grow stronger, they still needed external sources of strength. Everyone nodded when they heard Qin Wentian's words. A look of contemplation could be seen on their faces. Let's not talk about this for now. Since everyone is willing, Qin naturally won't force you. Since everyone is here today, the divine sect has prepared a banquet. Everyone can drink to your heart's content in the divine sect. Qin Wentian waved his hand and spoke. After that, more and more serving girls came over. There were many of them and they prepared a banquet, inviting everyone. Qin Wentian toasted a cup of wine and left. Given his status, there was no need for him to accompany them. Everyone also understood that the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect was already very polite to them. After all, they weren't a hegemonic power of the supreme ancient immortal realms. Their statuses were still a little lower. As for those hegemonic powers, they didn't come. Back then, the Qin clan was involved in the deity-level battle, and many hegemonic powers stood against Qin Wentian. Why would they come to celebrate the establishment of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect? However, the news of Qin Wentian inviting everyone to a banquet was circulated to the various hegemonic powers. After they learned that the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect was established and had officially started to recruit disciples, they all felt some worry. Right now, among the hegemonic powers in the supreme ancient immortal realms, who wouldn't be afraid of Qin Wentian growing stronger? They were the same as Qin Wentian. There was one thing they were very clear about. Although the supreme ancient immortal realms was calm now, if there were any changes, it would definitely be earth-shattering. Right now, both sides could only endure. No one dared to provoke a deity-level war like the one in the Qin clan. Naturally, the hegemonic powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms also understood that they couldn't afford to wait. But Qin Wentian could. Because given Qin Wentian's talent, he would only grow stronger and stronger. In addition to the advantage of the Heaven Vault, his power would only grow stronger and stronger. Chapter 1934. Several tens of years to the supreme ancient immortal realms was merely the blink of an eye. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, a rare period of tens of years of peace actually appeared. The Qin clan that was blasted into rubble by Qin Tiangang back then had already been rebuilt. However, after that battle, the Qin clan was so low profile that it was terrifying. It was rumored that after Qin Zheng refined the judgment halberd, he received the inheritance of his ancestor and obtained an even stronger Dao. There were also rumors that after Heaven's Son suffered a setback, he left the Qin clan and roamed the boundless worlds to comprehend the Dao. Naturally, there were also people who said that Qin Dangtian went to some secret realms to roam. In any case, there was a possibility that this piece of news was true. Qin Dangtian might have left the Qin clan. The setback he suffered during that battle back then was too heavy. If it was an ordinary person, they might not be able to recover from this setback and lose their confidence. However, everyone believed that as Heaven's Son, even if it was proven that he wasn't as dazzling as Qin Wentian, he wouldn't be defeated so easily. In the 9 heavenly layers of the Heaven Vault, an incomparably resplendent beam of light suddenly erupted forth. In the starry space, a figure bathed in divine light could be seen. His long hair fluttered in the wind as an astral soul from the 9 heavenly layers appeared. This astral soul was extremely dazzling. This astral soul was like a divine formation, but also like a battle formation scroll. It revolved frenziedly as an incomparable battle might gushed forth, terrifying to the extreme. When his astral soul appeared, a blood-colored glow circulated around his body, as though a terrifying bloodline power was unleashing its might. An incomparable energy enveloped his body, as though it was being reforged, causing his body to transform unceasingly. It was as though he was clad in a formless battle armor, as though he was a god of war from the supreme ancient immortal realms. In the starry space, a smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face when he saw this scene. He was somewhat shocked in his heart. He didn't expect that the first person to step into the deity realm by his side would actually be Uncle Qiyu. Back then, Qiyu's talent was considered ordinary, or he wouldn't have stayed in the Azure Mystic God Hand Mountain Manor. But after he obtained the Battle Saint Bone, he underwent a transformation. His entire person was different. It was like he instantly regained the magnificence of the ancient Battle Saint tribe. Now that he had become a god, he seemed to be going through another transformation. Qin Wentian didn't disturb Qiyu. After a long time, when the light in the sky calmed down, Qiyu's body was still radiating a strange radiance. He stretched out his hands and looked at himself. He couldn't believe the changes he had undergone during these years. Right now he was already a god. Everything seemed like a dream. Uncle Yu. Qin Wentian's voice could be heard. He walked to Qiyu's side and said with a smile, "Congratulations to Uncle Yu for stepping into the immortal state." Qiyu stared at Qin Wentian. His gaze was even more spirited compared to before, exuding boundless magnificence. His entire person seemed to be even more outstanding than before. He smiled at Qin Wentian. "Wentian, all of this is all thanks to you. If it wasn't for the Battle Saint tribe, I would still be an ordinary person, and would never be able to reach this level." What he said was from the bottom of his heart. He understood his talent in the past. Is the sacred bone of the Battle Saint tribe really so terrifying? Although Qin Wentian knew that the sacred bone was extraordinary, Qiyu's continuous transformation still caused him to sigh in admiration. My Battle Saint tribe was able to display supreme might in the ancient era, because of the Battle Saint bone. After that, it was seized by the Divine Ox clan, causing us to weaken. This isn't merely a Dao bone, it also contains the inheritance of an ancestor of the Battle Saint tribe, the will of the Battle Saint tribe. Also, the astral soul I condensed this time around is one that is perfectly compatible with my Battle Saint tribe. The ultimate astral soul of my ancestor was also this astral soul. Qiyu spoke. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. After that he nodded lightly. The creator was truly mysterious. A Dao bone contained the fate of an entire tribe. Also, this Dao bone would only be able to unleash its true power when it fused with the bloodline of the Battle Saint tribe. In the hands of the Divine Ox clan, the effect it could unleash was limited. Let's go. Uncle Yu, we have broken through today, and we must drink a few cups to celebrate. Qin Wentian laughed carefreely. Qiyu nodded. Indeed, they should have a good drink. The Battle Saint tribe would have a chance to regain their former glory in his hands, standing tall in the supreme ancient immortal realms. The two of them flew towards the exit of the Heaven Vault. At the same time, they gathered the experts of the Battle Saint tribe to the Battle God City, one of the 9 divine cities. This divine city was named after the Battle Saint tribe. Clearly, it was built for them. When they learned that Qiyu broke through to the heavenly deity realm, the experts of the Battle Saint tribe were all extremely moved. They were finally getting closer and closer to the dream that they once thought was unreachable. If the people of the 3 realms in the Azure Mystic Immortal realms knew about this, they would surely be incomparably moved. However, Saint Lord Qin Wentian told them not to disturb the people of the Battle Saint tribe temporarily. This was to prevent any accidents from happening. If there was a day when the Battle Saint tribe truly regained their former glory, it wouldn't be too late to bring them over. Little Rascal, Jun Mingchen, the Southern Phoenix Matriarch, and the others all felt envy and jealousy when they learned that Qiyu broke through to the heavenly deity realm. Hence, they worked even harder in their cultivation. Although Qiyu's talent had transformed after obtaining the Battle Saint bone, they mustn't weaken too much. They had to become heavenly deities and step into the heavenly deity realm. Only then would they truly have the strength to fight side by side with Qin Wentian, helping Qin Wentian. Given the current situation in the supreme ancient immortal realms, the World Overlord realm was no longer sufficient. Several months later, within the Heaven Vault, above the 9 heavenly layers, another beam of divine light flashed. Someone broke through, stepping into the heavenly deity realm. In the starry space, a hearty laughter rang out, filled with joy. This voice belonged to Jun Mingchen. After Qiyu broke through, Jun Mingchen, who was stimulated, worked hard in his cultivation. A few months later, he also stepped into the heavenly deity realm. In the Heaven Vault, the Qiankuan sect leader and 9 heavens mystical maiden both felt shock in their hearts as they silently sighed. Most probably, no one would be able to stop the rise of the Qin heavenly divine sect. They could understand the trepidation the experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms felt towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian, who controlled the Heaven Vault, could create heavenly deities in batches. As long as one's talent was strong enough, in addition to comprehending insights from the constellations in the 9 heavenly layers, the chances of them breaking through would greatly increase. Right now, other than their allies, even excluding the Luotian clan, Qin Wentian's group already had 3 heavenly deities. Qin Wentian, Qiyu Jun Mingchen, and his maternal grandfather Luotian Chuan. Just these 4 alone were already enough to form a faction. In addition, there was also the Demon God Mountain and the other allies. Jian Junlai and the heavenly deities of the Tiandao Sacred Academy were all on good terms with Qin Wentian. Even without the Qiankuan sect and 9 heavens mystical palace, Qin Wentian's strength was already not to be underestimated. Also, all of this was far from the end. In the future, there would only be more experts appearing. Naturally, the Qiankuan sect and 9 heavens mystical palace hoped that there would be more heavenly deities appearing in their sections. But even in the Heaven Vault, this wasn't an easy matter. After so many years, only the 2 people around Qin Wentian succeeded. This wasn't the end. A year later, another heavenly deity appeared in the Heaven Vault. This time around, it was a demon god, the heaven-devouring demon god. Little Rascal has broken through to the heavenly deity realm. The heaven-devouring demon sovereign was extremely excited. From now onwards, there would be 2 heaven-devouring beasts in the supreme ancient immortal realms. Qin Wentian stared at Little Rascal, who had transformed into a snow-white little demon, walking over as a strange look appeared in his eyes. This lazy and lecherous little fellow actually became a demon god just like that? Why did this little fellow look so strange? Little rascal inclined his head and crossed his front paws, resembling a human. His actions were extremely comical. Wentian, how's the talent of this demon god? Little rascal had a serious look on his face, but his voice was still so immature. Qin Wentian directly slapped little rascal's head. Boo-hoo, why did you hit me? Little rascal glared at Qin Wentian. Your expression is simply asking for a beating. Qin Wentian laughed. Little rascal gritted his teeth, revealing a baleful expression as he released his divine might. Hey, you became a demon god? Seems like you want to try fighting against me. Qin Wentian giggled. When little rascal saw his expression, he shrank his head and instantly became listless. How depressed. He had already become a demon god, but he was still being bullied. This Baobao was unhappy. However, Qin Wentian was truly very happy. Right now, there were already 3 people by his side who had broken through to the deity realm. His patience had finally seen results. In the future, the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect would only grow stronger and stronger. Father, Mother, I will let the name of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect resound through every corner of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. In fact, even the 33 Immortal Realms would know about it. Qin Wentian stared at the starry sky as he silently mused. He didn't dare to confirm if his parents were still alive. If they were, why hadn't they appeared until now? Unless they weren't in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. If not, given his current fame, his parents would definitely know about it. I've finally become a deity. Wentian, can we go out for a walk now? I've been so bored during these years. Little rascal grumbled. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. After that he smiled. Okay, it's about time for me to go out for a walk. There are some debts that need to be settled. Chapter 1935. In the desolate region, after the great change in the past, only the Divine Ox clan remained in the desolate region. The Divine Ox clan seemed to have achieved their ultimate dream, becoming the sole hegemonic power in the desolate region. However, the Divine Ox clan didn't feel the sense of accomplishment they imagined, because they didn't manage to defeat the other hegemonic powers of the desolate region. The Luotian clan had split up. One branch followed Qin Wentian to cultivate in the Heaven Vault, while the other branch migrated away. Their whereabouts were unknown. As for the other hegemonic power, the Demon God Mountain, the 5 demon sovereigns and many experts were also cultivating in the Heaven Vault. The other demonic beasts all left. It was said that during these years, many demonic beasts started to gather in the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, searching for the 5 demon sovereigns. As long as they were from the Demon God Mountain, as long as the 5 demon sovereigns agreed, Qin Wentian would accept them and allow them to enter a divine city in the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, allowing them to cultivate in the Heaven Vault. The Divine Ox clan naturally knew what this meant. The Luotian clan and Demon God Mountain were growing stronger and stronger. This was especially so for the Demon God Mountain. They didn't experience any internal strife, and the 5 demon sovereigns were still around. Also, Luotian Chuan of the Luotian clan was Qin Wentian's maternal grandfather. This was already sufficient. As for the Divine Ox clan, back then when they surrounded the Heaven Vault, Qin Wentian's group slaughtered their way over and killed several demon gods. The strength of the Divine Ox clan was greatly reduced. What was there to be happy about dominating the desolate region? In fact, the Divine Ox clan had always been living in a state of crisis. They were worried that one day, Qin Wentian would lead the Luotian clan to make a comeback and kill their Divine Ox clan. Sometimes, they wondered if they should do what they did many years ago and migrate their entire clan. However, they were filled with reluctance in their hearts. They understood that Qin Wentian wouldn't dare to act recklessly now. After all, the hegemonic powers of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms were still eyeing him. During these years, he didn't dare to do anything until the establishment of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. However, the establishment of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect caused the hegemonic powers of the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms to feel even more trepidation towards Qin Wentian. Some of them were already interacting with each other. Clearly, they were guarding against Qin Wentian. But for now, Qin Wentian's group didn't have the strength to threaten the hegemonic powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms. At the very most, it would be extremely difficult for them to eradicate Qin Wentian's group now. After all, the Qiankuan sect, Nine Heavens Mystical Palace, and the old dean of the Tiandao Sacred Academy were protecting him. In the desolate region, in the Divine Ox Clan's desolate region city, there were many greater demons roaming about. Humans were extremely lowly here and were ordered around. Demonic beasts enjoyed the best treatment. Many humans in Wuxia were already complaining and wanted to leave. However, it was said that right now, this vast region was under the pressure of the Divine Ox Clan. Where could ordinary humans go? They weren't like heavenly deities who could easily traverse the desolate region. Even for world overlords, it wasn't easy for them to traverse the desolate region. For those below the world overlord realm, it was basically impossible for them to do so without a background. Beauty, come over here. In a wine shop, a minotaur sat in front of the window. When he saw a group of people passing by, he had a look of desire on his face as his eyes gleamed with a demonic light. The expression of the woman froze. She softly spoke, "Senior Yao, I'm from the Li clan." "The Li clan that works for the Divine Ox Clan?" The eyes of the minotaur flashed. The woman nodded her head lightly, thinking that this identity would allow her to avoid a calamity. However, the minotaur's smile grew even more radiant. "No wonder you are so beautiful. I'm from the Divine Ox Clan. Since your clan works for the Divine Ox Clan, you should serve me well, and your clan will definitely receive benefits. If you serve me, I will naturally dote on you." The woman turned pale. The expressions of the guards beside her also turned unsightly. The minotaur frowned. He was very unhappy with the woman's reaction. "Senior Yao, this junior is already engaged." The woman bowed and lowered her head very low. "Is that so?" The minotaur laughed malevolently. "Wouldn't that be even more interesting?" As he spoke, he stood up. His body gradually expanded in size, transforming into a giant minotaur. Demonic chi gushed forth, causing the people in the wine shop to exclaim in shock and retreat. No one dared to antagonize the demons from the Divine Ox Clan. Right now, there were no other powers in the desolate region that could suppress the Divine Ox Clan. They were the kings of the desolate region. Ordinary people wouldn't know about the situation in the supreme ancient immortal realms. They only knew that the Divine Ox Clan was the strongest in the desolate region. "If you want me to act personally, you will be in for it." The minotaur laughed coldly. He stretched out his hand and grabbed towards the woman below. His coarse, pitch-black palms were extremely terrifying. The woman was so frightened that she closed her eyes as tears flowed down her face. However, a moment later, that hand didn't reach her. After that, a cry of shock rang out in the wine shop. When the woman opened her eyes, she saw the minotaur struggling madly. A terrifying gigantic hand grabbed his head and lifted it up. It was like as long as the minotaur exerted strength, his head would be crushed. "I'm from the Divine Ox Clan." That minotaur roared. "That's good. However, I have a letter of challenge in my hands. I'll borrow your head and hand it over to the Divine Ox Clan." A cold voice rang out. After that, a crisp cracking sound rang out. Everyone only saw the minotaur's head twisting as his body twitched. After that, there were no more movements. With a loud thud, the minotaur's body fell onto the ground. After that, a letter of challenge landed on his head. No one dared to read it. They inclined their heads and stared at the person who spoke. That person's aura was extremely outstanding. With a flash of his silhouette, he directly departed, vanishing without a trace. After he left, some time later, experts from the Divine Ox Clan arrived. When they picked up the letter of challenge and read it, their bodies trembled violently. They knew that something major was going to happen. This wasn't merely the death of a demonic beast from the Divine Ox Clan. This matter concerned the entire Divine Ox Clan. On the letter of challenge, there were only 4 words: Battle Saint Tribe. In the desolate region, a piece of news circulated out. The Battle Saint Tribe has reappeared in the desolate region and issued a letter of challenge to the Divine Ox Clan. For a period of time, the entire desolate region was shocked. The Battle Saint tribe that once dominated the desolate region for countless years had reappeared. Many people even forgot that there was once such a hegemonic power in the desolate region. But as the Battle Saint tribe reappeared, news of the past started to circulate. Back then, the Divine Ox clan was once forced to flee for their lives. After that, they used despicable methods to annihilate the Battle Saint tribe. The Dao bone in Devilox's body originated from the Battle Saint tribe and was later dug out by others. There were people who suspected that back then when Devilox died mysteriously, could it be that the Battle Saint tribe had a hand in it? Even the Divine Ox clan was filled with doubts. The atmosphere in the Divine Ox castle grew extremely tense. The words Battle Saint tribe was like a formless pressure that enveloped the entire Divine Ox castle. Even the Ox chieftain of the Divine Ox clan didn't dare to underestimate this name. After all, the Battle Saint tribe was once an extremely glorious existence. But now they seemed to be hiding in the shadows. Who knew how strong they were? People from other regions also received the news. Their hearts trembled. They didn't expect that the Battle Saint tribe that had vanished for so many years would reappear. The supreme ancient immortal realms was truly not peaceful. More and more experts from the desolate region gathered at the Divine Ox castle, quietly waiting. They knew that since the challenge letter was issued, the Battle Saint tribe would definitely appear. The Divine Ox clan was also waiting, as though they were facing a great enemy. The unknown would always cause people to feel trepidation. The Ox chieftain of the Divine Ox clan stayed in the Divine Ox castle, not daring to take half a step out. He was waiting for the Battle Saint tribe to appear. Today, in the airspace above the Divine Ox clan in the desolate region, demonic clouds enveloped the area. Within the Divine Ox castle, numerous demonic beasts inclined their heads and stared at the sky. The eyes of the Ox chieftain gleamed with a demonic light as his divine sense tore through the air, shooting straight up into the sky. Busy. A raging wind ravaged the area as demonic chi filled the air. A Kuanping broke through the clouds, blotting out the sky, enveloping the space above the Divine Ox castle. Kuan sovereign, why did you come to my Divine Ox castle for? The Ox chieftain had an unsightly expression on his face. Not only for the Kuan sovereign, the other demon sovereigns were here as well. Since my Battle Saint tribe of the desolate region has returned, I naturally have to come and take a look. The Kuan sovereign spoke. The expression of the Ox chieftain turned unsightly. In that case, where's Luoshan Chuan? What are you doing here? The Luoshan clan is also a major power of the desolate region. How can I not come here? Luoshan Chuan replied. In the Divine Ox castle, the experts from the Divine Ox clan all felt a formless pressure. Did the Battle Saint tribe really want to deal with them? Why did they feel that Qin Wentian and the others came here for revenge? In the air, a figure stepped down. His entire body shone with battle light, incomparably dazzling. He was like an existence akin to a war god. When the Battle Saint might radiated forth, the Ox chieftain instantly understood that this was indeed an expert from the Battle Saint tribe. They have truly returned. I am Qiyu, the leader of the Battle Saint tribe. Qiyu descended, arriving in the airspace above the Divine Ox castle. You have a Battle Saint bone in your body. Were you the one who killed Devilox? The Ox chieftain coldly spoke. I'm merely returning it to its rightful owner. Back then, you bunch of vile creatures used despicable methods to seize the sacred bone of my tribe. Now that the sacred bone has returned to its rightful owner, I came here today to take back everything. The Luoshan clan leader and Demon God Mountain Sovereign will be in charge of this battle. Who from your Divine Ox clan will fight against me? Qiyu spoke, challenging a heavenly deity from the Divine Ox clan? After he broke through to the heavenly deity realm, he hadn't fought a single battle yet. The Divine Ox clan would be his training ground after he ascended to the heavenly deity realm. Are you the only heavenly deity from the Battle Saint tribe? What qualifications do you have to challenge my Divine Ox clan? The Ox chieftain coldly spoke. The Battle Saint tribe sent out a challenge letter. Don't tell me your Divine Ox clan is planning to gang up on us? The Luoshan clan calmly spoke. If that's the case, we won't stand by the side and watch. The Ox chieftain turned ashen. Clearly, the Luotian clan and Demon God Mountain didn't come here to watch a show. They came here to suppress his Divine Ox clan together. This caused him to feel immense pressure. After so many years, Qin Wentian finally acted. However, he didn't act in the way he imagined. Instead, Qin Wentian used the Battle Saint tribe as an excuse to challenge the Divine Ox clan. But in reality, was there any difference? Since this is the case, I really want to see how strong the heavenly deities of the Battle Saint tribe are now. The Ox chieftain was prepared to act personally. You can't do it. Let other demon gods fight. Your opponent is someone else. Luo Shenchuan calmly spoke. The Ox chieftain glared at him in anger. If you guys want to gang up on us, just do it directly. Why is there a need to do this? Today is a battle between the Battle Saint tribe and the Divine Ox clan. Those who fight are related to these two hegemonic powers. Naturally, if you don't wish to fight, I don't mind acting. Luo Shenchuan coldly spoke. The Divine Ox clan had to fight even if they didn't want to. Chapter 1936. The Ox chieftain glared in anger. Luo Shenchuan and the demon sovereigns of the Demon God Mountain came with ill intentions. In the desolate region, the leaders of the three hegemonic powers were all gathered here. Only the people from the Battle Saint tribe will fight? The Ox chieftain coldly asked. He knew that a battle was unavoidable. But Luo Shenchuan said that only those from the Battle Saint tribe and the Divine Ox clan would fight. This meant that he, Luo Shenchuan, wouldn't act. If not, why didn't he act directly? There was no need for heavenly deities to intentionally play tricks on him. You can put it that way. Luo Shenchuan nodded. The Ox chieftain turned his gaze over and stared at the Ox deities behind him. The Ox deities seemed to be conversing about something, and after that, a muscular figure stepped out. This was none other than one of the heavenly deities of the Divine Ox clan. He had the head of an ox and the body of a human. His body was gigantic and exuded a terrifying aura. White mist flowed out from his nose as his terrifying eyes gleamed with demonic light. His large eyes stared at Qiyu as he coldly spoke. The Battle Saint tribe should have been annihilated long ago. Since there are still survivors, let us annihilate them one more time today. A terrifying aura gushed forth as rumbling sounds rang out. Demonic chi gushed forth from his feet, transforming into dark clouds. His body gradually expanded in size, becoming a terrifying ox head that blotted out the sun. He stood there, and it felt like he could touch the heavens. The people below had to tilt their heads in a straight line before they could see his head. Boom! Stepping on the air, this gigantic ox head soared up into the sky. With the Divine Ox Castle here, he clearly didn't wish for the shockwaves of the battle to affect the Divine Ox Castle. Qiyu's body rose into the air together with him, heading straight for the clouds. Two figures appeared at an extremely high place. Their huge bodies landed in the eyes of those on the ground, and they were no different from the size of ordinary people. Moreover, in the vast and endless region, countless people and demons could see them in the sky when they raised their heads. Luo Shenchuan and the Kuan sovereign were also watching from below. The experts from the Divine Ox Castle were the same as well. They were just spectators. After regaining the Battle Saint Bone and stepping into the heavenly divinity realm, how strong were the experts of the Battle Saint tribe exactly? In the air, two figures faced each other. Behind the Divine Ox clan's heavenly deity, the shadow of an incomparably gigantic Kuei ox appeared. His true form was already large enough, but this shadow of his was even larger, covering the entire sky, causing it to lose all light. Behind Qiyu released his astral souls as a divine diagram appeared behind him. It was as though the diagram contained the heavens and earth within it. Golden light frenziedly gushed forth, filled with an overwhelming battle intent. Roar! All of a sudden, a heaven-shaking roar rang out from the mouth of the Divine Ox clan's heavenly deity. His voice was like thunder, causing the heavens and earth to tremble, capable of shattering the souls of people. Qiyu's body trembled. He only felt the sound waves transforming into a destructive energy that ravaged his body. A gigantic battle character appeared, shining with a resplendent light as it flew forward, colliding with the sound waves of the thunderous roar. A terrifying formless energy erupted forth, wanting to destroy everything. All of a sudden, a stifling pressure bore down. The demonic chi in the air churned frenziedly. The ox god threw its head back and let out a long roar, the sound of its roar shaking the heavens and earth. The sound of thunder rumbled through the air and in the air. The vast space was covered by the roar of countless kuei ox. Each and every one of them was roaring in rage, accompanied by the resplendent light of the sun and moon, as well as the sound of thunder. An extremely terrifying feeling appeared in Qiyu's heart. It felt like his body was about to collapse and his soul was about to be destroyed. Not only were the kuei ox clones rampaging through the heavens and earth, they were also rampaging through his body, trampling on his life force. Every time the kuei ox clones throbbed, it felt like they were trampling on his soul. The astral souls behind Qiyu radiated boundless light. After that, numerous palms manifested, transforming into a supreme divine formation that seemed endless. After these palms appeared, they blasted out, containing a heaven-shaking battle intent. The word battle was imbued within them, capable of destroying everything in its path, blasting towards those kuei ox clones. The heavenly deity from the divine ox clan radiated boundless might. From Qiyu's astral soul, a gigantic palm that blotted out the sun suddenly appeared. This gigantic palm seemed to be formed from the battle intent of the heavens and earth. It turned translucent and shot out, directly penetrating through the bodies of the kuei ox clones, aiming for the divine ox clan. Upon feeling the terrifying might of this palm imprint, the divine ox clan's heavenly deity took out a divine drum and began to beat it. The light from the sun, moon and thunder shot out at the same time, capable of penetrating through the sky, colliding with the illusory palm imprint. A formless shockwave manifested. After that, the shockwave transformed into a tsunami that threatened to destroy everything in the surroundings. The crowd below felt the sky trembling. After that, the tremors gradually calmed down. Qiyu's expression was incomparably calm. He calmly stared at the divine ox clan's heavenly deity before him. "Do you only have this little bit of strength?" His voice was like thunder, echoing through the air. Everyone felt their hearts trembling when they heard it. This heavenly deity from the Battle Saint tribe was simply insufferably arrogant. He actually said to the divine ox clan's heavenly deity, "Do you only have this little bit of strength?" In that case, could this heavenly deity from the Battle Saint tribe be even stronger? The divine ox clan's heavenly deity had an unsightly expression on his face when he heard this. He was already fighting with his full strength. But if Qiyu wasn't using his full strength, the divine ox clan would truly face a calamity today. "I will let you experience the ultimate saint art of the Battle Saint tribe, the Battle Saint art." Qiyu calmly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, his astral soul enveloped the entire world. He folded hand seals and in an instant, boundless battle intent began to brew in all directions. The divine ox clan's heavenly deity inclined his head and stared at the surroundings. Numerous battle runes could be seen flashing in all directions. The battle intent that was brewing was so strong that it could shake the heavens and earth. His heart pounded as a bad premonition appeared in his heart. Qiyu's aura soared frenziedly. It was like the boundless battle intent in the world was fusing together with him, transforming into his strength. At this moment, Qiyu was like a true battle god. The Battle Saint tribe was named after war. The heavens and earth trembled. Qiyu blasted out with his palm. The great Tao of the heavens seemed to be infused into this palm. The boundless battle intent in the world, as well as the countless battle runes, all radiated a bright light, landing on the palm imprint, causing it to contain a might that could pierce through the heavens and earth. Upon feeling this pressure, the divine ox clan's heavenly deity turned as pale as paper. He felt a sense of helplessness. He could sense that the might of this palm strike was tens of times stronger compared to Qiyu's earlier attack. This palm strike was basically unblockable. "Careful!" Below, the ox chieftain roared, clearly sensing that something was wrong. But how could it be of any use? When the palm imprint landed, all resistance was futile. This palm strike seemed to be able to shatter the heavenly Tao and break apart samsara. The ultimate intent of the Battle Saint art, the Battle Saint intent, could shatter all shackles and sweep away all obstacles. As the battle runes descended, The gigantic body of the Divine Ox clan's heavenly deity turned illusory and illusory. After that, a thunderous boom rang out as the Divine Ox clan's heavenly deity died. This scene caused the hearts of countless people below to tremble violently. Too powerful. The Battle Saint tribe reappeared in the desolate region, and they were actually so powerful to such an extent. A heavenly deity from the Divine Ox clan didn't even have a chance to escape. He was killed in a single strike. The Ox chieftain turned ashen. Right now, the Divine Ox clan originally only had 4 heavenly deities guarding the Divine Ox clan. Now they lost another one. Right now, there were still 3 heavenly deities remaining, including him. In addition, Chiyu's strength also shocked him. The Divine Ox clan that had dominated the desolate region for countless years, was a calamity about to befall them today? Boom! The Ox chieftain stepped out. He wanted to fight personally. He knew that the other 2 heavenly deities weren't a match for Chiyu. If they fought, they would die for sure. Hence, he chose to fight personally. Chieftain, what are you doing? Upon seeing the Ox chieftain's actions, Luo Shenchuan calmly spoke. Didn't I already say that Ox chieftain's opponent is someone else? No matter which expert from the Battle Saint tribe it is, I will accept the challenge. Tell him to scram out. The Ox chieftain coldly spoke. Since the chief is so impatient, then I shall respectfully accept. A voice seemed to come from the void. Following that, a young man dressed in white stepped out. His incomparably handsome face and extraordinary temperament made him seem like the main character of the world just by casually walking over there. Qin Wentian. The expression of the Ox chieftain turned cold. I should have long guessed that you are the one controlling everything from the shadows. Devilox, you were the one who killed Devilox back then and seized the Dao bone away. However, what relationship do you have with the Battle Saint tribe exactly? He is the Saint Lord of my Battle Saint tribe. Everyone in the Battle Saint tribe listens to his commands. Chiyu coldly spoke. The eyes of the Ox chieftain flinched. Qin Wentian was actually the Saint Lord of the Battle Saint tribe. He killed Devilox and gave the Dao bone to someone from the Battle Saint tribe. After that, he nurtured a heavenly deity from the Battle Saint tribe, and came here to collect the debt from the Divine Ox clan. However, the Ox chieftain was as expected of a supreme character. He soon calmed his heart and spoke to Qin Wentian. In that case, you want to challenge me alone? Qin Wentian's talent was outstanding and extremely powerful. He had once defeated Heaven's Son, but he was still the leader of a tribe after all. He was the #1 expert of the Divine Ox clan, the Ox chieftain. Qin Wentian and the others didn't seem to intend to use the method of encircling and suppressing them. They wanted to challenge him in the name of the Battle Saint tribe. This battle, they were challenging him. Chapter 1937. Since Qin Wentian dared to challenge him, as the chieftain of the Divine Ox clan, what reason did he have to fear Qin Wentian? The Ox chieftain stepped out, causing the entire space to tremble. Every step he took was like trampling on the hearts of everyone, causing the hearts of countless people to tremble. He was originally someone from the Qin clan, Qin Yuanfeng's son, Qin Tiangong's grandson. He once became a god in the Boundless Sea region, easily suppressing the heavenly deities of the Qin clan. He once defeated Heaven's Son Qin Dangtian head-on, catching up from behind. He solved the secret of the Heaven Vault, and gained control of the strongest secret realm in the supreme ancient immortal realms, the Heaven Vault. He founded the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect, and became the sect leader of the Qin Heavenly Divine Sect. And now he had another identity. He was the Saint Lord of the Battle Saint tribe, the hegemon of the desolate region from countless years ago. For this battle, he challenged the Ox chieftain of the Divine Ox clan. How could the people of the world not be filled with anticipation for such a battle? The Ox chieftain of the Divine Ox clan was already an expert at the peak of the hegemonic powers. Between him and Qin Wentian, who would be stronger? The Ox chieftain stared at Qin Wentian as he panted heavily. His large eyes flickered with coldness. He didn't say anything, he only let out a low roar as he soared into the air, flying towards the battlefield in the sky. Only by using Qin Wentian's blood would they be able to wash away the humiliation of the Divine Ox clan. Also, as the Ox Chieftain, he understood very clearly that this battle didn't merely concern glory. It concerned the fate of the Divine Ox clan. If he was defeated, the Divine Ox clan would become history in the desolate region. He naturally wouldn't be so foolish to think that Qin Wentian, Luo Shenchuan, and the Demon Sovereigns came here purely to challenge his Divine Ox clan. Given the grudge between them, they would definitely want the Divine Ox clan to disappear from the desolate region forever. Qin Wentian's white robes fluttered in the wind as he soared into the air. Although he didn't need to worry about the Divine Ox Castle, there were still many spectators watching from afar. The aftershocks of a deity-level battle were too terrifying. If they fought on the ground, even the earth would collapse. It was unknown how many regions of the desolate region would be razed to the ground. In the air, amidst the clouds, the Ox Chieftain's body expanded. He was the same as Qin Wentian, transforming into a giant. He was like a true heavenly deity, lofty and lofty. A heavy pressure bore down, enveloping the entire sky. The surroundings were deathly silent. If someone came to the area where their pressure was released, they most probably would directly suffocate to death. The Ox Chieftain took out a pitch-black long spear. This was the Ox God's long spear. At the tip of the long spear, azure and black energy interweaved and flowed, resembling a black hole of destruction. It was terrifying to the extreme. Boom! He took a small step forward and abruptly, an extreme pressure manifested in this space. In this space, the illusory silhouettes of several inconceivably gigantic ox deities appeared, blotting out the sun and blocking out the starry space. These incomparably gigantic figures bore down on Qin Wentian, causing him to find it hard to move. It was like he was carrying the weight of the entire heavens on his back. His legs felt extremely heavy, as though he couldn't even take a single step forward. The shadows of the ox deities breathed out. Black fog enveloped the sky as they shot towards Qin Wentian. This was a destructive current that could corrode and destroy everything. Qin Wentian could sense the destructive might contained within. A dazzling radiance circulated around him as the power of his bloodline transformed into a beam of light, radiating out in all directions. It was as though he could break through the poison barrier, impenetrable by the myriad of techniques. He stood in the midst of the destructive black fog, unmoving and as calm as ever. The him now was no longer the same as before. He was no longer the young man he was in the past. He was a true heavenly deity with the aura of a supreme expert. He stood there like a god peering down at the world, like a sovereign descending from the heavens. The Ox Chieftain brandished his ox deity spear, and pierced it towards Qin Wentian. At this instant, numerous incomparably gigantic ox deities' shadows stabbed out at the same time, locking down the sky, wanting to pierce through this space. There was nowhere to hide. And at this moment, Qin Wentian was still enveloped by that stifling pressure. It was like he was carrying the entire sky on his back. The Tao of dimensional space unleashed its might. For a period of time, numerous dimensional black holes appeared around Qin Wentian, containing a boundless world within. When the destructive spears shot over, the dimensional black holes transformed into terrifying vortexes that could devour everything, directly sucking them into the vortexes, causing them to be trapped within the boundless dimension. The expression of the Ox Chieftain didn't change. It was like he had long expected this scene. He had personally witnessed Qin Wentian's strength before. Back then when he fought against Qin Wentian, he was also present. If he could kill Qin Wentian just like that, in that case, it would be impossible for Qin Wentian to cause such a huge commotion in the supreme ancient immortal realms. At this moment, countless spears of darkness appeared, piercing through the sky. The ox deity's shadows stabbed out, directly nailing them into the air. At this instant, Qin Wentian had a feeling that this incomparably heavy space was locked down by the spears of darkness. This space was in danger of collapsing, and it was very possible that he would be buried here together with it. The Ox Chieftain coldly laughed. The ox god robe in his hand stabbed out as a terrifying might penetrated through everything, detonating all destructive energy. At this instant, the space sealed by the ox god's shadow seemed to have been detonated. The frenzied destructive energy exploded forth, destroying everything. Even the boundless space was about to be buried. Even if they were in the void dimension, they would be destroyed together with the Ox God, having no way to escape. Qin Wentian stared at this destroyed space. His eyes seemed to transform into a dimensional space. With a single glance, all the destructive energy in this space was sealed by his eye technique. A space-time sealing energy manifested, causing the destructive storm to be sucked into it. After that, it was sealed within and gradually dissipated. Naturally, there were still many waves of destructive energy rushing towards Qin Wentian. He waved his sword, transforming it into a tempest, wanting to devour and shred everything apart. A heaven-shaking wave of destructive energy gradually dissipated into nothingness. The Ox Chieftain coldly stared at Qin Wentian. This young heavenly deity before him was much stronger compared to when he fought against Qin Dangtian back then. Regardless of his space-time sword Dao or his dimensional space-time Dao art, they were all much more powerful. It seemed like the sealing energy was gradually infused into his Dao art, making it harder and harder to deal with him. But the more it was so, the stronger the killing intent in the Ox Chieftain's heart grew. His battle intent soared even higher. Today, if he didn't kill Qin Wentian, his divine Ox clan would be annihilated. There was no third path. Rumble. A thunderous sound rang out. The Ox Chieftain transformed into an incomparably gigantic Kuei Ox, radiating a towering baleful aura. He actually reverted to his true form. The divine Ox spear transformed into his horn, radiating a darkness intent of destruction. His eyes stared at Qin Wentian, exuding a terrifying aura. It was like being stared at by his eyes was an extremely terrifying thing. Stepping on the ground, the heavens and earth became incomparably heavy. In the air, the shadows of countless Kuei Ox appeared. Numerous Ox deities covered the entire sky. He was the Ox Chieftain of the Divine Ox clan. He was the Kuei Ox God. He had his own innate talent. At this moment, the eyes of everyone below froze. When they inclined their heads and stared at the sky, they could only see countless Kuei Ox silhouettes burying the heavens and earth. How could they contend against this? The Kuei Ox silhouettes galloped forth, instantly causing the sky to collapse. The space around Qin Wentian was completely buried. There was simply no path of retreat. The entire space was filled with the Kuei Ox silhouettes. It was like he wasn't facing a single Kuei Ox but rather a myriad of Ox deities. His opponent was none other than the Ox Chieftain. When Qin Wentian saw this scene, he released the power of his bloodline, transforming into a demonic divinity. Shadows of countless demonic divinities appeared as he released his astral soul. This caused the demonic eyes of the Ox Chieftain to freeze. Back then, Qin Wentian didn't release this astral soul. It was still an astral soul that originated from the 9 heavenly layers. As expected, Qin Wentian didn't only have 12 astral souls. His astral souls seemed to be boundless. This astral soul was like a grand formation, capable of summoning the heavens. When this astral soul was released together with his bloodline talent, the countless demonic beast astral souls in the 9 heavenly layers seemed to sense it. After that, boundless divine light cascaded downwards as the shadow of numerous demonic divinities manifested around Qin Wentian. For a period of time, the roars of millions of demonic divinities filled the air. All the greater demons were saint beasts. With a single roar, the entire sky trembled. Kill! Qin Wentian roared. In an instant, the demonic divinities he summoned all rushed towards the soaring Kuei Ox. The entire sky was instantly enveloped in a destructive might as rumbling sounds echoed through the air. Even for the powerful enemies that were boundlessly far away, everyone could feel the intense tremors as well as the violent demonic might. How crazy! Qin Wentian possesses the bloodline of the Luotian clan, and has the innate talent of rearing divinities. Now he even has the ability to summon demonic divinities from the 9 heavenly layers to fight against the Ox Chieftain. The hearts of everyone were filled with shock. Even the people from the Divine Ox Castle felt their hearts pounding when they saw this scene. Initially, they were extremely confident in their Ox Chieftain. But when they saw the battle in the sky, their confidence started to waver. This genius whose name shook the supreme ancient immortal realms was simply too powerful. Ever since his identity was revealed, every time he acted, he would cause a huge commotion, causing the hearts of everyone to tremble. In that case, Was he planning to use the title of the Ox Chieftain to clear his name once more? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.